Saturday morning, Shelf Life. Shelf Life. Kevin and Rachel, the brother-sister crew with pop culture fun, they got something for you. Hey! Grab your snacks and settle in. It's time for the best show around. Books, movies, games, and more. Your weekend's here, let's explore. Shelf Life. Saturday morning, Shelf Life. Shelf Life. Shelf Life, Saturday morning, Shelf Life.
She's Miss Rachel on Shelf Life. Kevin, his name is Kevin. He's also hosting on Shelf Life. What'd you have for breakfast this morning, Rachel?
An egg sandwich.
That's not very Saturday morning Shelf Life of you.
Well, I like egg sandwiches. I ran and then I had an egg sandwich. I didn't have cereal. Right. I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, I didn't have cereal
yesterday, so there.
I had a donut. A cherry donut. A good donut is the key to happiness, in my opinion, Rachel. You know what else is the key to happiness?
Saturday morning cartoons.
I was going to say pizza, but Saturday morning cartoons, yes.
Also pizza.
Also pizza.
Because the Turtles would have just put those donuts on a pizza.
They would have, based on some of the toppings that they were putting on their pizzas in these
episodes.
Correct.
Everything is a pizza. No matter what meal or food it is, it goes on the pizza.
How does Splinter allow them to eat the pizza like that?
All Splinter
He's a very
eats,
disciplined rat.
All Splinter eats is sushi.
I assume some rice as well. Sewer sushi. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know where he's getting that fish.
Just saying. Sewer sushi.
You're right. But he's letting them eat pizza all damn day.
He likes the pizza too. I don't think he cares. They're turtles. What does he care? He's a rat.
That's the thing. Where did that come in? Like, who was the person that was like, you know what they should do? They should eat pizza all the time because they're turtles. And everyone was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
New York.
Like, what was the...
It's New York pizza.
Because it's New York?
Yep.
You think it's because it's New York?
100%. I bet
yeah,
it's
eat some fucking pizza here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
hello,
wait. Saturday morning, Shelf Life.
Saturday morning, Shelf Life. Hello there, boys and girls. I'm Kevin. I'm crazy Kevin.
And I'm Ramblin' Rachel.
Yeah, that's a good one. And this is Shelf Life Saturday Morning Edition.
That's right.
A podcast where our brother and sister team bring you all things pop culture, no matter what the genre is, to determine whether or not the subject at hand belongs on your shelf. And today, we have climbed down into the sewers to start your weekend right with our Saturday morning Shelf Life here for Volume 5. Rachel.
Yes.
What is up for contention to the shelf today?
Today, we are talking about the 1987 Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
To be more precise, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, it is the cultural phenomenon. 30 some odd years, I guess actually really 40 years since their creation, in the making as the time of this recording. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the most important and iconic American symbols there is. Which is an insane statement to make. But yes, it is Saturday morning Shelf Life. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. We're literally recording this after breakfast on a Saturday morning.
That's right.
Rachel, for the folks at home that may be joining us for the first time, thinking that, like, oh crap, is this new? Why am I getting this in my feed on Saturday morning? Well, first of all, you have some nerve, mister. Because you should have been listening to this in Volume 4, where we did a Saturday morning Shelf Life episodes on Recess Power Rangers and Arthur.
That's right.
And this volume, we're bringing you That's right. That was our first one. For three little weekends there. We're giving you 2 weekends of Saturday morning shelf life here with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're going to cover the entire first season, all 5 episodes, and tell you whether or not it has shelf life. But in order to do that, we have to give you a little bit of background on what we think about the Ninja Turtles. Rachel, what is your history with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Well, first of all, I guess I'm jumping the gun. Could you please explain for anyone that for some reason, because I'm pretty sure there are remote islands that don't have electricity that know who the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are? But I need you to explain to the folks at home what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are.
Okay.
And then, if you please could explain your history with the Turtles.
Okay.
And if you remember anything about the 1987 cartoon, our topic for the day.
Okay. So, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's kind of in the name of what they are. They are actual turtles. They became...
They're mutated turtles. Well, I guess they were turtles.
Yes,
You're right.
they
You're right.
were
I'm sorry.
turtles.
You know what? I'm sorry.
They were baby turtles that got mutated by an ooze. I still assume it's an ooze in this, isn't it?
It's still
Sometimes
it's still ooze.
It's ooze.
I think they use a different term, but it's still ooze.
Okay.
It's ooze.
So they're baby turtles mutated by ooze. Now they're teenagers because that's the age bracket that they're at. So they act like tough teenagers. But they were brought up by a rat that learned ninja from. It's also mutated. That learned ninja from its master, so he taught them ninja stuff. He just taught them to become ninjas, and so now they're ninjas as well. So they're teenaged mutant ninja turtles. Turtles in a half shell.
Turtle power.
My background with turtles is just kind of being thrown into it as a baby, and it just always was there. I don't really have I remember when... No, it's just like, yeah, the turtles were just always there. You had all of the figures. You would even have them wrestle with the other figures.
Yes, my big... when I had my home action figure wrestling federation, I had Leonardo as the world heavyweight champion at one point.
I remember this.
And my ultimate goal was going to be that Raphael would come in, and it was going to lead to a brother versus brother championship match.
Wow.
I never got to that point because I stopped. The Federation shut down. But if it would have, that would have been the great payoff to that feud.
I like that a lot.
But one might say, Rachel, that the Turtles have always been there.
They have. They have always been with me.
It's true because I feel like in a strange way, the Ninja Turtles have evolved with the times. Every generation has their version of the Ninja Turtles.
That's
whatever
true.
the Ninja Turtles is for them. For me, it was the subject today would have been the Turtles, and it would have been for you too as like a little kid because it was on the air for like 10 years.
The video game was huge for me too. That was like
the video
that
game,
I remember more than anything else is the video game.
Right. Also on the list. We'll do all the turtle shit. We don't care. There's gonna be half of this podcast is gonna end up being Ninja Turtles shit by the end of it. But the 1987 cartoon came out before I was born, not to age myself, but this was on before I was alive. This is still my Turtles because at some point, and I couldn't tell you when, it's the same thing with you, Rachel. I don't know when I started Turtles, but at some point, Turtles just became part of your little kid knowledge.
Right, because you even have the comic books and stuff too.
I was a subscriber to the Archie Ninja Turtle comic books as a little kid, which are actually pretty good.
Right.
Also going to be on the list. They're actually kind of good. I never read the original comics, except and the story, and I can't remember if I've told this story at all on air or not, but it ties in because it's Ninja Turtle related. When I was 4, I remember this. When I was 4 years old, maybe 5, I think it was like graduating like kindergarten, preschool, like one of those types of things. Mom and Dad got me... You might not have even been around yet, so I can't remember. But Mom and Dad got me a T-ball set for, like, graduating. Thinking, like, oh, Kevin might like getting into, like, T-ball. That will be fun. Sports. And I looked at it, And I did like the, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how
And
you. That's how this. Everybody, if you ever give Kevin
Wait,
a gift, that's
do-
just what he does. Period. Whether he likes
do
it
you,
or not.
that's right. Mom, do you remember giving me a T-ball set when I was 4 years old and me rejecting it in place of a comic book? Okay. It's Batman Day? Oh, we're doing Turtles, but okay.
Today is Batman Day, and we're doing the Ninja
Apparently.
Turtles.
That's fine. He has a Batman meets the Ninja
But
Turtles.
we
comic
did
that
the
people
long
really
Halloween.
enjoy.
It's fine. It works.
That's right. Yeah. So they thought that I would want this T-ball set, and I looked at it and was like, "Thank you." And I believe, and I'm sure Mom was pissed because Mom and Dad were like, "Are you gonna use it?" And I was like, So as like a little kid, I probably was like, "I don't want it" or whatever. They took me back to the store, and instead of the T-ball set, I was like, "I want that." And it was a graphic novel of the Ninja Turtles.
It starts.
30 years later, here I am. So that's why I am the way I am.
Yep.
But I don't even think that was the introduction of Turtles. Like, I think I
Probably
already
not.
knew the cartoon
I think
and
yeah.
stuff.
So you
Like,
already recognized it, so of course you're gonna pick it. That makes sense
yeah,
to
and
me.
I don't remember this cartoon, like, what season I would have started watching it. I don't know what episodes. I can remember a couple of, like, specific episodes. I remember one where Donatello gets amnesia and becomes Batman. I can,
yeah.
like, Batman-esque.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, random episodes like that I can remember. I don't really remember watching it. I
No.
just know it was there.
Yes.
Like, it is that weird sensation when it comes to Turtles. But would you say that we both have nostalgia for
Probably.
Teenage
I
Mutant
would
Ninja
think
Turtles?
so. Yeah.
Various different types. Like, even more so than this, I think the movie is
the
that's
movie.
my Turtles.
Yes. Yes. The live action, I think,
Yeah.
is my Turtles. I will
That's-
always
that's
remember
my
Ninja
Turtles.
Rap. Always.
The secret of the ooze is Rachel's Turtles. Well, and partly because
Just 'cause
partly
it's silly.
because just like X-Men, Secret of the Ooze was one of our road trip movies.
It was a road trip
that you would
movie.
watch
Yes.
on the road. Yeah.
Yes. I think that's the problem. Anytime it's a road trip movie, I'm going to remember it.
So the Turtles have been with us forever, and like you said, Rachel, it's about these four brother turtles.
Oh yeah, they're brothers, by the way. Well, we don't know if they're
Raised-
actually
well,
brothers. I kind of assume that they're brothers. But...
They just think they're brothers. Raised by their sensei father figure rat, Splinter,
That's correct.
Hamato Yoshi.
Mhm.
Do you prefer... Well, I guess we can get into it when we get through the walkthrough, never mind. So yeah, Splinter is their father figure who taught them how to do ninja. So
To be ninjas.
to be ninjas, yes. This whole thing started with Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Rich men, I assume. I hope so. I hope that they get credit for everything that comes out with Turtles on it, because Teenage Ninja Turtles will live forever. It will forever be a thing. I was shocked, Rachel, because I asked my godson at some point over the last several months,
Yes.
does he know the Turtles? And he said no.
Oh, he's gonna
And he's
love
4,
them if
and
you
I was like,
introduce them.
I don't think that's right. I think you should have known them by now. So I did, because like,
But you gotta remember the parents, and I feel like that's also going to put into that, because I don't even know if his dad is into Ninja Turtles or anything.
I mean, I guess it's possible.
And
to
I don't
not
think
be.
our cousin is. I don't think she was ever into the Ninja
No.
Turtles. So
He's into Transformers,
Yes.
Power Rangers, like that's his thing, which is
Mhm.
fine. Well, I guess there is a cartoon. Is there a cartoon? There's a new cartoon on now, so maybe it'll end up happening.
Probably.
Regardless. So that's where we're coming from with this, because Turtles forever. In fact, there is a cartoon movie called Turtles Forever that I am sure we will do one day when we're gray. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird are these two comic book guys in the 80s. They're like freelancers. They're just trying to get jobs with DC and Marvel and
Mhm.
whoever else. And one day Kevin and Peter draw, just to make each other laugh, pictures of turtles as ninjas. They're very rudimentary. Have you ever seen these pictures,
I don't
Rachel?
know if I have. I probably have, but you'll have to show me.
See 'em?
Yes, they look like old turtle. Like they look like turtles and like wrinkly
Yes.
turtles. I feel like I
Yeah.
have seen that.
They look like turtles. They have like big feet and stuff. Peter Laird said that we could create a team of 4 turtles with like, and then each of them would have like a different weapon. So they were just doing this as a way to be funny because at the time in the early 80s, you had Frank Miller, the Daredevil comics and the Kung Fu comics from Marvel.
Right.
So they were trying to make fun of the idea of all of these swift and fast ninjas with slow plotting turtles.
Right.
So like that's the idea, like a turtle is
I
slow.
love
How could
that.
it be a ninja? Because it's like, you know, it would be like or whatever. It was a parody, which is why if you know the origin of the Ninja Turtles in most iterations, it is the same origin as Daredevil,
Yes.
where a
Like literally, it
boy-
happens at the exact same time.
It literally could be the exact same thing. Yeah, a boy tries to get a blind man out of the street, gets hit. That's Daredevil. In the Turtles universe, he's holding the 4 turtles in a little terrarium, and when he goes to save the old man or to get out of the way of the car or whatever it happens to be, or trips on the sidewalk, depending on your version, the turtles fall into the sewer. And the ooze that blinds
Yes.
Daredevil is the same ooze that mutates the turtles. So
I want them all to
it's-
be together one day, you know?
We've gotten a Batman meets the Ninja Turtles. We should get
But
a
where is
Daredevil meets the Ninja
Daredevil?
Turtles.
Oh my god, it's my baby turtles from when I was a kid.
Yeah. That's the essence of it. It's why the hand in Marvel,
The
that's why
foot.
it's the foot. Yeah, so you get all of that kind of
great.
stuff there. So they took some money and a loan from Kevin's uncle. Kevin Eastman, of course, who my stage name is named after.
Of course.
That's why I'm Kevin.
Yes.
And they formed
Don't ask
Mirage.
me where Rachel comes from.
That's right. We'll find it. We'll find out one day. They formed Mirage Studios, which is the joke there again, because it's a mirage, it's not real. And they made a single issue of the Ninja Turtles. And it's very violent, which is part of the joke, right? Like it's overly violent. It's like overly like dark and like in New York City, we're the turtles, you know?
Yes.
And at the end of it, they actually kill the Shredder.
Wow.
And the idea behind like Splinter was so Stick, Daredevil's mentor Stick, Splinter,
I like it.
like it's
Beautiful.
all just from those comic
Yes.
books. But they end up self-publishing and people thought it was good. It's in black and white. They did it really cheap. They only made 3,275 copies, and eventually, because on resale markets it was selling, it would according to Turtlepedia, Rachel,
Ah, yes.
which is my source for all things turtles.
There's a PDF for everything.
It has sold at 50 times its original price at different points in time. Eventually, it just became this huge kind of underground thing where it was like this funny, like fun thing. And the versatility of it is what's so unique about it. So the original Turtles, in concept, like I said, a lot darker, a lot more violent. There's a YouTube show called Back Issues that goes through the first volume of Ninja Turtles that I'll recommend people kind of watching their video or listening to it, because it could be in podcast form too. It's 3 guys that are one guy reads them the story, kind of like ours. The issues were all over the place because they would go from they're fighting the Shredder, and then they're fighting Baxter Stockman, and now they're fighting the Triceratons
Okay.
in space.
Yeah.
Because they only thought we're just going to make 5 of these things, and that's going to be the end of it.
Right.
So they're very, very brief in nature that way. Of course, when you get something that is popular in the 80s, and it has the opportunity, if people can see the vision of it, then you end up getting this, well, wait a minute, can we do something with this idea? What ends up happening, a producer comes to them from Playmates Toys and says that he thinks that they can make action figures. So they go to Playmates and they say, we think we could make action figures out of this because it has that concept. All 4 of the Turtles have different weapons. You have G.I. Joe and you have, Star Wars. All of this stuff is going crazy in the 80s. Why not the Turtles? And like all the things that we like, Rachel, at the end of the day, it comes down to selling goddamn toys.
Apparently, yep.
That's the only thing that matters. Selling toys to
So
kids, that's the only
goofy.
thing that matters.
Money.
So
it's all about the money.
we need money. Yeah, it is all about money. That's all that matters. So Playmates tell you what, we're worried about this because of the fact that it is this like dark, gritty New York ninja story. We don't know how widespread it actually could be. If you go and you take this into a cartoon, then we can have it sell for toys. So the cartoon that we're doing today was only ever made to sell toys. They had the toys made before the show was over.
Of course.
Okay? So this
Star
was
Wars-esque
always...
then, honestly.
Yeah, this was... I mean, and quite frankly, because of that, you could say this is garbage. Like, you could say this is garbage because all it is just a marketing ploy for toys. And that's fine. I would get that. I would completely understand that. However, I think this goes to show that if you make something that people can go, oh, this is fun, and you make it good, or you put your heart into it, even if the original purpose for it is completely commercial, you'll be better off in the long run. Because you're not being cynical about it of who gives a shit, just make it because we just want to make our quick buck on these action figures. Mm-hmm. If you're actually doing it and you're actually giving it some gravitas, now it's 40 years later and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are an American institution, right? So, yes, the reason that it was made was because they just wanted to sell some freaking toys.
Yeah.
Playmates works with them to get a television deal made. They work out a 5-episode series. They end up releasing the Ninja Turtle action figures in 1988 after the series comes on the air. All 5 episodes came on day after day after day in December of 1987. David Wise is brought in. Patty Howarth works with him to write the screenplay for each one of the parts. And then Jack Mendelsohn joins the show as the story editor. They're able to get it on the air with CBS, I think was the first one. It went into syndication in 1988, and it became a huge hit the second that the thing aired. So some of the things that you'll notice about the Turtles, right? Mm-hmm. In the original comic books, all 4 of the Turtles had the same color band.
That's what I kind of figured that was going to happen, yeah.
They wanted to distinguish the Turtles because they were like, well, okay, they got the weapons, but it would be better if we could distinguish what turtles are what based on just how they look. So they gave them all a different bandana color. Mm-hmm. So that was a change from the comics to the cartoon.
Okay.
They gave them all a little bit of a wisey-ear, smartass attitude, like that 1980s, like, you know, bodacious, Poochie-esque attitude a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just to, like, tone it down. And then some of the other changes were made, of course. April
and
is...
they're going to be toys. I think you're going to have to give them a little bit more of an attitude to get kids to want to buy it.
Right. April becomes a reporter because as they were writing it, they were like, how would the Turtles know what to fight? So they make her a reporter character so that she can be on the inside.
What was she originally?
That's a great question. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can find out.
I wasn't sure if she, like, what else she was in the original, or if she was even in the original.
She is in the original.
Okay.
And I don't know if Casey Jones ever comes up in the cartoon, to be honest with you, in this particular cartoon, but like Casey Jones is also in the... So the original April O'Neil was a computer programmer and an assistant to Baxter Stockman.
Okay.
So she was same idea. She is a helper of the Turtles.
Right, she's the guy in the chair, though, in the comic.
Then they said, should she be a reporter? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that you know about the Turtles, Rachel, comes from the cartoon.
It does.
Not the comic.
It really does.
Like, and that's why I said, even in the introductory episode for Volume 5, that, like, this 1987 cartoon really starts it all. Mm-hmm. They make the adjustments that they need so that the Turtles becomes this pop culture icon instead of the underground comic. Eastman and Laird, not a big fan of a lot of the changes that they made. In particular, I know that when we get to episode 2, we'll talk about how they hated Bebop and Rocksteady.
Oh, boy.
But they've also kind of admitted that, like, well, these changes were made because it made it popular. Like, they don't know if it really would have been as popular if they didn't do that. They make the show, and then on December 14th, 1987, the world at large meets the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Rachel, do you have any idea what it would have been like if you were a fan of these comic books to be like, oh, they're making a Turtles
And
show.
then it's really
and then it's
silly. Ooh.
Yeah.
Why does that feel familiar? Like I have had something like that happen where I'm like really
'Cause you
into
probably
something and then
have.
it like they made it like goofy and just awful and I'm like, no, that's not what it is to me. This is what it is. That's probably the reaction I would have had if I was a huge fan of the comic and it was a bit grittier and then all of a sudden this very silly thing comes out. I'd be like, nah, it's not the same thing, but if it's enjoyable, I might still like it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's still like it.
But I
or
would
still
probably
likable, that'd be
separate
great.
them. Yeah.
There's currently a historical marker in New Hampshire for the creation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the house. That's how, like, in November 1983, while living in Dover, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird created a cast of ninja weapon-wielding turtles during a late-night drawing session. That's how important it is that they have a historical marker up.
As it should be.
As it should be, 100%. This cartoon ran for nearly a decade. Voice actors that they bring in, because remember, this is the 1980s, this is a kid's cartoon, so they're actually going to have voice actors that come in. So they have Renee Jacobs playing April, Barry Gordon playing Donatello, Cam Clark playing Leonardo, Townsend Coleman playing Michelangelo, Rob Paulson playing Raphael. Sometimes they were all separate, but sometimes they were together, and they would joke and they would improvise as they did the lines and stuff, because they all talked about, in some of like the behind the scenes stuff that I've seen, about how they came in and were like, this is ridiculous. This concept is absolutely ridiculous. So they thought, like, how can we do this and not, like, we can't be overly serious. You have to be kind of goofy. So some of these lines, according to them, are improvised. I could see that. Like the dictionary line, when Michelangelo's like, we haven't even looked it up in the dictionary. That, like, felt kind of improvised. Yeah. I can't say whether or not it was. But some of these just feel a little improvised.
Especially when they're a little bit of like a one-off and they're just kind of in the background. They're like, no, we're going to keep that in. But it's kind of funny. And if you miss it, you miss it.
So that is the Teenage Ninja Turtles. It goes on to great success. It becomes a huge thing with the cartoon. It becomes even bigger when the toy line comes out. It becomes even bigger when the first video game comes out. Konami makes the first Turtles video game, and then it just explodes from there, and you get exactly what you think of when you think of the Ninja Turtles. But that's not the question, Rachel. Because it can be this big icon. It can be this big important thing, its own industry, its own brand. But that's not what matters. What matters is, does the 1987 cartoon have shelf life? Anything else before we get the break?
Well, I could go for a pizza.
Well, we can order one, but I don't know if they'll deliver it down here, but we'll see.
All right. Oh, did you guys not know we're in a sewer? Yeah, we're in a sewer right now.
We're in a sewer. Yeah. That's why you hear that echo. Rachel and I are going to go order a pizza, and after the break, we will dive in to the Ninja Turtles from 1987.
The evil Dr. Paranoid changed 4 innocent brothers into huge creatures. Man. You're in my control. Yeah. Think again. 4 heroes fighting to stop Dr. Paranoid and his evil creations from taking over the world. They fight, they bite, they kick some serious spin. 3 sharks. Ripsters. Blades. Jab. And big slam jump. Fighting to defeat Dr. Paranoid, half man, half piranha monster. Time to go spear fishing. Go fish, blowfish. 3 sharks. They bite. They fight. They kick some serious spin. Each sold separately. New from Mattel. Jawsome.
Saturday morning, Shelf Life.
Let's see.
And we're back with Shelf Life. Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. Shelf Life.
Shelf Life. Well, we're back, boys and girls, with another episode of Saturday Morning Shelf Life. We're about to dive into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage
the first
Mutant
episode.
Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Ninjas in a half shell. Turtle power.
It's not turtles in a half shell?
It's not. I always thought it was, and then we watched this, and it actually says ninjas in a half shell, turtle power.
I guess that
And I was
makes
like,
more
I always thought it
sense.
was turtles in a half shell, which, I mean, yeah, they're in a half shell. They're in a full shell. Whatever.
I guess it makes sense that it'd be ninjas in a half shell.
Yeah.
Turtle power. I never thought about that. All right. That's fine.
I think earlier I said turtles in a half shell out of just like doing it all the time, saying
Yeah.
turtles, and I'm like, I think it's
Folks at home,
ninjas.
are we stupid? Does everyone know out there that it was ninjas in a half shell? Because I think I've always said turtles in a half shell.
Turtle power.
Turtle power. We should start there, actually, Rachel. The song.
Okay, the song. Let's start.
Like X-Men, the Turtles song for the 1987 cartoon will forever be the theme for the Ninja Turtles. I don't care how many new themes they come out with.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't care how many movies they come out with. For the next 100 years, unless somebody somehow tops it, this is the theme song for the Ninja Turtles.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's super serious, like as dark as you can get, like HBO drama, or as silly as you can get. This is the Turtles theme song. The theme song, allegedly, was written by, well, he says he did, and I don't
Yeah,
see
that's
anybody that disputes it, so I'm gonna
So
assume
he's like,
that it
yeah,
was him.
that's right. It was me.
Chuck Lorre, the TV
Interesting.
producer extraordinaire behind like Two and a Half Men? Yeah, that's the show. That's the name of the
Another
show,
half
right?
thing.
2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory, all of that crap, wrote this song. So he was given the task. At the time, he was just trying to make it in the TV industry as like a jingle man. Like he was just trying to, he was like a freelance like music guy. Well, could you come up with a theme? And he was like, are you fucking serious? You're making a TV show about Ninja Turtles. So he was like, all right, I'll come up with something silly. So he tried to come up with something silly and stupid. And so he wrote the theme song. You can thank, unfortunately, Chuck Lorre for the theme song to the Ninja Turtles. But it's perfect. It is the Turtles.
Yeah.
And it's at least this version of the Turtles, but it gives you a very, very good idea of what the Turtles are. In any iteration, I think it gives you a very, very succinct idea of what the Turtles are.
Oh, wait, it's heroes in a half shell.
Heroes in a half shell. Now that I feel like I've heard.
Ninjas
that I
in a
feel like
half
I've
shell.
said.
I just made up. Because
Heroes
I thought
in
it
a
was
half
ninjas
shell.
for a second, but it's heroes in a half shell.
That I
Turtle
can
power.
get by. Yes,
All right,
that
fine.
I can
My
get
bad.
by.
All right, well, I had to make sure because then I was like, ninjas in a half shell. It doesn't sound right, but I thought it was. I'm like, it's not. I know it's not turtles in a half shell, but it's heroes in a half shell.
That I
There
understand.
you
That
go.
sounds
You're
right,
welcome.
yeah.
I figured it out. I am stupid.
No, you're not stupid. Folks at home tell Rachel she is not stupid.
There's just too much. Too much to
so-
remember.
There is a lot to remember. So, Rachel, the first episode we have on tap is called what?
Turtle tracks.
That's right. Like is that an ice cream flavor?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
What is Turtle Tracks as an ice cream flavor?
Are chocolate covered pecans with caramel swirl.
Okay. Chocolate covered pecans with caramel swirl. That sounds pretty good. All right.
delicious.
I'll get by that.
I love that one. Moose tracks and turtle tracks. My favorite ice creams.
I'm
one
not
of
a
them.
big fan of chocolate ice cream, though.
Well,
We've
it's not
discussed
chocolate ice cream.
this.
It's vanilla ice cream with chocolate stuff in it
Okay, I can get by that. That's fine.
and caramel. So
Right. Yeah.
I
so
do
that's
love
pretty much.
chocolate ice cream.
So if anyone wants to send Rachel some chocolate ice cream, go
I'm
for
down
it.
for that.
Might be melted by the time it gets there, unless you put some.
Ice.
Rachel, what happened? What is the first episode of the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode Turtle Tracks about?
It's the origin story, right? Or it has
Yeah,
some
I
of the
was-
origin story in it.
I gotta tell you, I was kind of shocked. I didn't think that a cartoon from the 80s that's made specifically to sell a toy line was going to have an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
But they tell the origin story
They
of the
tell
Turtles.
the origin story. They meet April. They start fighting something with Shredder. You know, we're introduced
Yeah.
to Shredder and the Foot. So it's all there. It's all there.
It's all there. It debuted on December 14th, 1987, written by David Weiss and Patty Howarth, and directed by Yoshikatsu Kasai. So, Rachel, let's get right into it. We talked about the theme song already. It's a minute long. It's beautiful. It is iconic. Rachel, any lyrics of the theme song that you like in particular?
We're really hip. It's one of my favorites.
We're
And
really
they're green.
That's one of my favorite ones. I think it's their heroes in a half shell and they're green. Is that right?
Hold
Or they're
Because now I have to look.
And they're green.
Turtle power. They're the world's most fearsome fighting
fighting team.
We're really hip.
We're really
heroes
hip.
in a half shell. And they're green.
And they're green.
Hey, get a grip when the evil shredder attacks.
Rachel,
turtle
wait, no,
boys
no, no,
don't
no,
cut
no,
him
no,
no
no,
slack.
no. Okay,
Look.
here's what I want you to do. Could you just recite
I will.
the lyrics for us in almost a spoken word poet?
I will.
Poet-esque.
100%.
Now, folks at home, for those of you that are not familiar with the turtles, you're going to get an introduction to all four of them in this. The essence of what makes each turtle unique.
Oh wait,
here
do
she
you
goes.
want me to still do the beginning part, or am I
What's the
just doing like the verses?
So you can do the whole
Teenage
thing.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell, turtle power. They're the world's most fearsome fighting team. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're really hip. They're heroes in a half shell and they're green. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hey, get a grip. When the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut him no slack. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter taught them to be ninja teens. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he's a radical rat. Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines.
He does do
Teenage
machines.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's a fact, Jack. Raphael is cool but rude. Give me a break. Michelangelo is a party dude. Party. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell, turtle power.
Turtle power. Thank you. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, so that's pretty much all that we need to say about that.
I mean, but it does tell you Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines, Raphael is cool but rude, and Michelangelo is a party dude.
So I'm finding here that James Mandel is the singer of that theme song. I don't know if that's right or not. So let's go with that. So yes, you'll get it stuck in your head
now.
too. Yeah, it's
Yep.
gonna absolutely be stuck in your head.
Oh yeah.
So let's dive right in to Turtle Tracks. Each episode, in a very 1980s fashion, starts with the title and who wrote and directed it, which I thought was interesting. You don't always get that with we had it with Arthur, surprisingly enough. But I didn't even remember that, like, oh yeah, each episode starts with, like the title of the show and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the animation, Rachel? Any thoughts about the animation style for the Turtles here, season 1?
I mean, I have a lot of nostalgia, and I really like when it's obviously hand-drawn.
Yeah, the hand-drawnness of it. It forgives a lot.
It feels really good, though.
Yeah.
So there's not, it looks like it could be a comic because of how it's drawn too, but it's, on softer paper than, comic shiny paper type of thing. But it definitely has, all of those streaks of, pencil markings and everything in it, which is kind of great. And it's a lot flatter. It's a lot flatter, I would say, than most things.
Yeah. I feel like if you looked at it in today's day and age, you'd be like, it's pastel-y muted, and you'd
Yes.
almost be like, it looks a little cheap. And I think that it probably was. But there's a charm to it. It looks like a
Absolutely.
1980s, you could see yourself eating your cereal in the morning with it, I think.
Yes.
It's not bad. It's just a little. It's definitely a old school look.
It's an old style. It's an
Yeah,
absolutely old
it's
style.
definitely an old style.
I mean, just
like
look
you
at
can.
April O'Neil. That's all you have to look at. April O'Neil. You know
Why
what's
do you
old.
say that?
Because of her style. Her her yellow tracksuit that she wears. Her
This
hair.
tracksuit is
Her
insane.
poof hair. All right.
Yeah.
Her mullet kind of hair look to her.
Yeah.
she just looks, and her eyes and stuff, like when you look at this art style, you know it's an older thing immediately
Right.
when you look at April O'Neil.
I could see that turning off a lot of people that did not grow up with this because it just is, it looks of its time.
Mm-hmm.
What is with this tracksuit thing? Because like it's got a lot of pockets, and she's like ready for anything because she is this just like Kirsten Dunst in Civil War reporter, where she's like, I am
she's
ready
like, I'm about
for
to
hell.
fight and be a reporter at the same time.
Yeah. But like, why is it this big yellow like?
I guess it's more like a jumpsuit.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre look
It's
for
like
a
a
reporter.
full body outfit, like.
Folks at
But
home,
it's
let us know
so
if,
April O'Neil. I can't.
Well,
not
now,
have her
yeah,
in that.
you can't picture in anything else. The Archie comics, to bring it back to that, because the Archie comics piggybacks off of the cartoon a lot. Everyone has a pretty good arc in the comic. The Archie comics is a very sad story to me because it had a very progressive, a progression for the story, and you could tell it was leading somewhere, and then it got canceled before they could finish the final arc. So it's never been finished. It doesn't have an ending. It ends on a cliffhanger. It sucks in that way. But the April character is April from the cartoon and becomes gradually changes into its own thing, much like a lot of the Archie comics with it. And in that, she doesn't wear the yellow tracksuit the entire time. She eventually wears a much more modern woman, modern for early 1990s. It's a mix between the comic book, the first comic book, and this, because she's a news reporter and stuff. But in the original comic books, if you look up April O'Neil from the original comic books, Rachel, she looks like a 1980s comic book chick. She's got the leather jacket, she's got the tight jeans,
Right.
she's got the big poof hair. Yeah, exactly. She looks like a comic book
She almost looks like
character.
Jean Grey.
Yeah.
She's got like the red hair.
If you say April O'Neil to someone on the street, this is what they picture in their head.
Oh, absolutely. Because they wanted her to be memorable. So she has this bright yellow one piece like thing on with white boots and her bright red fiery hair.
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's brown, but yeah, bright red fiery
I think
hair.
it's red. I don't think it's supposed
Hair.
to be brown.
Red,
like
like the fires of
auburn?
hell.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Auburn.
April is doing a news report talking about crime in the city. They're talking about a bunch of science equipment that was stolen. I really enjoy the joke here because she does a little interview with one of the guys that, or like a scientist or somebody that had all this equipment stolen. And he goes, I had this stolen, like a bunch of like scientific terminology.
Yes.
And then she goes, and what does that all do? And he goes, I have absolutely no idea.
I
It's a
loved
fun little
that.
joke.
I don't
It's a good
know.
joke for like a kid, for like a kid's show like this. It's
Oh,
a good joke.
absolutely. Yes.
One detective says it was a samurai sword. They this like yes, this like old English professor looking detective for some reason is talking about how he thinks that it was the work of ninjas. Now he goes into like this like warehouse where all of this stuff was stolen, and there's a security guard wrapped up
Still tied up. It's just still tied up.
But I like that instead of
silly.
untying him and asking him, they leave him tied up, and he goes, "It was clearly the work of ninjas." And they're like,
Yes.
"Well, how do you know that?" And he goes, "Because the rope that they used was made in Japan." So the first instance of this is it's starting very silly by giving you this tone right off the top
Yes.
that it's not taking itself too seriously.
No.
They shut off the feed and they want to get into the van, but April thinks that if they just wait, they could see if someone comes to steal something. Like, because this has been like the district where stuff has been getting stolen. Her boss?
I don't know what that guy
guess?
is.
Is he
the
like a
guy with the
producer?
giant nose? That the one in the pink shirt.
Vern. I think his name's Vern, right?
I don't remember his name. We'll call him Vern. We'll go with Vern. But I don't know if he's like. I guess maybe he's the boss. But why would he be going out with them? Unless this is like the smallest news company, and so he has to be like a part of everything too, or is
No, because he's producing it or editing it or directing it. Like he's doing something with the footage and stuff.
he must be doing
like
like
he's
the
not in
live
charge.
feed.
Yeah, he's not in charge of the channel. We meet that guy later.
Yeah,
But I think this is
like her manager type of deal or something.
Yeah, it's somebody that's like taking or in control of it in some way, of like a director or a producer or something like that. he wants to get out of there because he's like, I'm not gonna
Sit in the
sit
crime-infested
here
area.
and like, yeah, wait for like crime to show up. We get an idea of somebody is watching them. There is an evil man going from. So I'm gonna ask you this now, Rachel. How in the hell? Like, how does Shredder have all these cameras? Is he have drones? Like, what is this?
Maybe
It's got to be drones, right?
I'm thinking drones. Yes, I'm thinking definitely drones. I'm thinking he's also tapping into the feeds of any cameras that are around the city.
I thought you were
or
going to be
in,
like
like,
tapping
buildings.
into the morphing grid.
Yeah, and we'll just go with that. But like, I think that's what he's doing. But I definitely think drones is probably a big part of it.
Before drones were there, like he has Dimension X
Well,
technology.
we ended up
Dimension
like, I don't
X.
think we get to see this even in the second episode, but those little like monster-looking ones that like have the
Yeah.
chompy mouth, and I don't even know what you
Yeah.
would call that.
Well, not the Mousers. We don't see them yet.
But even
You're not talking
something
about the
like
Mousers.
that. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
talking about the Mousers.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the ones that look like trash cans with the unicycle.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. If those had cameras on them, I
They
guess.
might all have cameras. I was thinking the Mousers could be like quiet and like go through
Yeah.
areas and be able to
I don't
watch
think
for
they
them,
even
kind of like a drone, but like an on-ground camera.
I don't think they've made the Mousers yet.
I don't think so either, but that's kind of what
But-
my imagination was going to.
The other members of April's crew are all cowards because a bunch of thugs show up, and April goes, "We're the news media. Who would want to hurt us?" Which is a funny line, because I don't know if
'Cause
it was
everybody
back
wants
then. Yeah, but I don't know if it was like that back then, but like now.
Well, it must have
with
been,
all
'cause
your
that's the
fake
joke.
news.
But
Huh?
that's the joke, so it has
Yeah,
to
you're
be.
right. So it had to have been. Yeah, and April's the
Well-
only one to stand her ground.
My problem is they ran away. Get in the van and drive away. It
Yeah.
doesn't take that long.
That
Everybody
would make
get into the
more
van, close the
sense.
doors. They might be beating on the van for a second, but you just drive away.
But Rachel, these are cowards.
Yeah,
so
okay.
they don't. A character who eventually becomes Rocksteady says, "We got a message from you from the boss man." And all I could think of, Rachel, was in the movie where the foot soldier comes up and goes, "We have a message for you." And then he slaps her and goes, "Shut it." And I was like, oh my god, is Rocksteady gonna slap April? this is
Oh my
was not
God.
prepared for this. And instead, no, he says he wants you to stick to fashion shows. She throws a camera at them, which I feel like shows incredible strength, because those cameras could not be that light. It's 1987.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know
They'd
where
be like
to
a
hide.
brick. You're throwing a
Yeah,
brick
it would
at
be
his
like
head,
throwing a brick at
which is
someone.
good. That's a good idea.
Yeah. She doesn't know where to go, so she slides into the sewers.
She
Folks at home-
slides into the sewers.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever end up in a situation where you're being pursued by a group of thugs who, as April puts it, she must be on the right track because they're trying to kill her, which is also a good line, that going into the sewers, I don't know if that's the best idea. I feel like that might be...
I think you're putting yourself right up against like a wall at that point.
Yeah, I feel like going down into the sewers, you're gonna catch something, and it's probably gonna
that
be worse
too.
than...
Absolutely.
They go to beat her, and before they're able to beat her, a bow stab... What? They do. They go to beat her. Rachel looked at me like, oh, all right. A bow staff stops them, and then a sigh, and then they very slowly take out the thugs in the shadows. This fight style, and I don't know if it's because they were trying to keep them in the shadows.
I think
but
so.
they're tossing them very slowly. Not to the point of that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fight with the putties, not like that slow, but pretty slow for
They're-
like an animation
These are
style.
ninjas. They should be swift. Right?
Correct.
Quick
Yeah.
and swift.
Taylor Swift.
No.
They pile
No.
them all up. They pile them all up, and they come out of the shadows, and we see that they are green turtles. Rachel, can you please describe what they look like in this 1987 cartoon?
Like turtles. They look like humanoid turtles.
Here's
They
the
have
thing.
they have pecs. They have abs. They are bald,
That are their
and they
shells.
have very wide, like beak-shaped mouths, like a turtle would. Like if
Yes.
you're thinking like a snapping turtle.
Yes. Problem that I have with the modern Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies is that they don't have those beaks because they are supposed they may try to make them look
They
too
gave them
turtle-ish.
human teeth, didn't they?
No, are you thinking? I don't remember. Oh, maybe they did. Yeah.
There was something about like their mouths that were creepy. I think they have human teeth in this too, but it's like at the same time there was something uncanny about the fact that they were very humanoid.
Yeah. The 1990 movie looks very similar to the style that they gave them here too. This like ovalish head,
Yeah.
UFO almost style head. The shells are there. You
they have
say
the
they
three
look
fingers
like they have 3 fingers. Thank you. Rachel's demonstrating how they have 3
with
fingers.
Spock hands.
They have Spock hands. Yeah. You say that they look like turtles. And
They're
April even
humanoid
goes,
turtles.
"You're turtles." Would you say these are turtles? You'd be like, "Oh my god, aliens," or "Oh my god,
I mean,
monsters."
yes.
You would not
I
say
think my first
turtles.
thought would be mutant, alien, monster, something along that line, not going, "Oh my god, you're just little turtles." Like, no,
You're
these are
turtles.
monstrosities walking
These are
on
freaks.
2 legs.
These are freaks of nature. We should destroy them all.
Yeah, that would have been probably my first
Especially the
thought.
rat.
I would have God, a giant rat would probably scare me.
I don't know who you are, but thanks. You're not human.
Bingo. We're dealing with a real mind here.
You're turtles.
Yep, so we are.
I can't handle this.
April faints. I was
That's
surprised
fair.
to see her. I was surprised to see her faint because, like, I know the origin story based on the movie. So to see
Yeah.
her faint, I was like, "Oh my god!" The movie actually takes a lot of this first episode and like does it.
Yeah.
You know, like this is
It
the
really
origin
does.
story. And there's a lot of stuff changed from the origins, like we've mentioned from the comics, but in my head, like in my head canon of the Ninja Turtles, so much of it comes from the movie and like my
Yes.
understanding of what the turtles are
Mhm.
that like seeing it in this cartoon I was like, wow, it really is the origin story. Like it is the turtles.
Right. I'm not surprised she fainted though, because she was like all of that adrenaline pumping. She was being chased by thugs, almost murdered, and then monstrosity turtles
Yes.
come out of the
freaks
shadows.
of nature. Absolute freaks.
I'm gonna pass out too, I think.
No, I'm not just passing out. I'm shitting my pants, and I'm trying to run out of the sewer. First of all, I'm in this dirty 1980s New York sewer. All
Ugh.
right, I might not even shit my pants. I might just pull my pants down because I know I'm gonna shit, and it's in the sewer. So what's the difference? And then I'm just trying to get out of there.
Anyways.
April faints, and we see the Shredder for some reason. So he has a feat of this. And Shredder's
And-
reaction to this is very odd, because he's like, "They're turtles! I can tell that they're turtles!" And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Shredder?
Turtles. Well, we find out later he's pissed, that they were turtles and they took down his thugs. But
Yeah, I get that. But
I guess
like,
because
this,
he thinks he's just annoyed that turtles can do this. Ridiculous.
April wakes up in the sewers in some area and is greeted by Splinter, who brings her tea, and so she faints again. Which you would if you saw a giant humanoid rat
Yes.
bringing you tea, speaking with a Japanese accent.
Yes. Yes, you would. I think I was
Don-
already still sleeping. I'm just gonna go back to sleep.
Yes, this is a dream.
This is a dream.
This is a problem. I'm gonna go to sleep. Donnie wakes her up. I don't know what I meant here, but I wrote it autocorrected on me. It says Raph Laments. It's supposed to be Raph Laments. I wrote Raph
yes.
Elements, and I was like, Raph Elements. So Donnie tries to wake her up, and she's like, "Come on." He's like, "Come on, lady, wake up." And Raph goes, "You know what? Instead of doing Raphael's voice for the 1987 cartoon, because it's I don't really have like that good like, oh yeah, seems to me, I'm a wise
he's
guy
kind of got
here.
the wise guy voice when it's more like a deep, like I imagine the movie voice.
You want the movie? Okay,
Yeah.
Leo.
Yeah.
I'm Ray Romano. I'm Big Raphael the Ninja Turtle.
Oh, I don't like that. That's too nosely. But yeah, I understand what you mean. I didn't know that was who played Raphael.
He didn't. No, I'm just saying he sounds like a Ray Romano.
Oh, thank God,
voice.
because I was like, I don't like Ray Romano's voice.
No. I'm just saying he does like
Yeah. He does
like a
have.
I'm Rosie O'Donnell, the turtle. That's his voice. But in this, he's more like a wise guy. Like, come on, lady, wake up.
More, yes, he's more like the wise guy New York gang. Yeah,
Like from Goodfellas. Like
yes.
he has like a Joe Pesci voice.
Yes.
And Donatello has kind of a
Well, it's a little bit
voice.
nerdy voice. Well, him Michelangelo, he sounds like he's a surfer dude.
Yeah,
Leo
Michelangelo
is just kind
is
of
surfer dude, and Leonardo is just the leader.
Oh
the
yeah, he's got that
soft-spoken
leader voice. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're
It's like
right.
he's got a little bit of the 1980s surfer style, but otherwise it's that. Come on, guys, we gotta do what's right here.
Right. So we have mobster, nerd, surfer,
Party dude, surfer,
and soft-spoken leader.
That's right. Rachel, which Ninja Turtle are you?
Probably Donatello. All right. I liked Michelangelo, but then I also started liking Donatello more as I grew up.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Donatello.
All right, that's fair. That was always a thing, right? Like, which Ninja Turtle are you? These are the 4 personality types that anyone can have. These are the 4, like there's in 100 years or 200 years time, the way that like Greek philosophy is like, okay, like there's these 4 quadrants or like 4 brains or whatever you could be. It's going to be like that's
orange, blue, and red.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be with the turtles, and it's going to be like, yes, the Leonardo.
I mean, they are named after Renaissance men, so
they are. I changed from time to time. Like I've appreciated all the turtles at different points in my life because I was Michelangelo when I was a little kid. I was Leonardo as like a young adult teenager, and then like as an adult, I'm
like
more
Raphael.
like Raphael. Yeah. I took completely.
No, I
understand
feel
Raph.
it. I feel it. I'm like Raph and Don now. I feel like.
And you can't have more than one in each group. You have your group of 4 friends. And if you have two of the same, there's going to be conflict. You have to have one of each.
That's right.
Folks at home, let us know what Ninja Turtle you are. Boys and girls at home, let us know what Ninja Turtle you think you are. Splinter brings April some sushi, and the turtles are like,
sewer sushi. I'm sorry.
Okay, I will give it to you that she rejects it because it's sewer sushi. But it's more that it's because it's 1987 and it's sushi, so she's
okay.
"You gross fish."
I thought it was just sewer sushi from a rat, and I'm like, of course I would say no. It's sewer sushi.
It is sewer sushi.
Otherwise,
to your
sushi's
point,
vegan.
I collect the fish that fall down here that they throw out at the end of the day, and I make sushi out of it.
Oh, it's so upsetting.
The turtles are going, pizza time, party on, dudes.
Of course.
And they're all eating pizza. We've already talked about it. How the hell do they get this pizza? Like, well, actually, I guess in the movie we see it.
I think
but
this one, they are cooking their own pizzas.
Oh, interesting.
I think
so you think they've got an oven down there?
Yes. I think they have an oven and they're cooking their own pizzas down here. Otherwise, yes, the movie kind of explains it. They order pizza, grab the pizza, and throw the money at the dude. Just kind of ninja their way out of that one whenever they need to order pizza.
Leo, we learn, is the mature one. He wants to know, okay, lady, let us know why you were being chased down here. And they're all talking about how we don't get a lot of humans down in the sewers. She realizes the absurdity of the situation because she starts going like, well, I was following a story and these thugs started chasing. And she's like, wait a minute. I'm in the sewers telling this story to 4 humanoid turtles and their pet rat.
It's actually the opposite, but yeah.
Right, yeah, it is actually the opposite. And Splinter's like, you know what? Maybe it helps if I tell you the story of how we became what we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as is tradition with all of the Ninja Turtle stories, like different types of stories, whenever you tell a Ninja Turtle story, you have to always tell this origin story. So
Right.
he goes right into it. Another question. Well, okay. These turtles are pretty physically fit, right? They're ninjas.
Yes.
So are they eating the pizzas because of all of the calories that they're
Probably.
burning through the...
They
Okay.
probably have to
'Cause
constantly
otherwise they-
eat to replenish the amount of calories they are losing from working out and being ninjas.
Because otherwise they should look like the turtles that Eastman and Laird drew, where they're like these big lumps, these big
With
fat,
a lot of
slow
wrinkles and
lumps.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust
I mean,
me, folks, if you eat a lot of pizza, you will end up with a lot of wrinkles.
I mean, if you dive into turtles and what they actually eat and why they're like so slow and like they like slow in digestion and everything, they can't eat pizza. Their digestion wouldn't allow for that.
They'd shit all over themselves.
It's a turtle eating pizza because it needs to replenish the calories because of its mutant side. Okay? There you go.
I don't understand. What's the problem? What's the problem? I don't understand. So we learned that Hamato Yoshi was a sensei in Japan. He was part of a ancient ninja clan known as the Foot.
That's right.
No, the Schwartz. The Hand? No, the Foot. He was a teacher
Yes.
at for the Foot Clan. He was quiet and he liked art. They throw that in there just so that you know he liked art. He's he's an art
Well, that's
aficionado.
fine.
Well, because it comes back and that's why
Of
they're
course
named
it
the way
does.
they are. He had one student who wanted to usurp him, Oroku Saki. And I do love that every time that Splinter says Oroku Saki, he goes Oroku Saki. Like he always rolls the R on Oroku Saki. Is
That's probably the proper way to
that's
say
the correct
it.
way to say it.
I was
don't
gonna
know.
say
Yeah.
it's probably just the proper way to say it, but it is kind of he emphasizes that name like every time he says it. It's very like this is the name.
Yeah. A sensei visited the dojo, and Oroku framed Yoshi first to not bow down before the sensei, which would be disrespectful. He takes a
Like a knife.
what's the sword? It's a knife. It's probably not a
kunai?
full sword. Yeah, it's probably some sword or knife. And he makes it look like he pins his shirt
Yes.
to it so he can't bend down to bow. So it looks disrespectful. And then they make it look like he was going to kill him. And they actually do go there because I was like, oh, they're going to do like a tamed down version where Saki just makes it look like he wouldn't bow to him. He's being disrespectful. And it's like, no, they go there. They actually do a whole like he was going to kill you, master.
Yes.
Which is from the comics are a little different. And I'll get to
Okay.
that in a minute.
Okay.
So they basically frame him for murder, and then they kick him out. They throw him out.
Can I just mention one thing? Oh, go ahead. You were about to say the exact thing I wanted to. Go
I'll
ahead.
let you do it. I'll let you say it.
The designs for these characters are awful.
Well, they're just a little problematic.
They're so racist. It's so extreme. Like
Their
the
accents are a little
features-
over the top.
the features.
It's a little much. It's a little much.
Yeah.
It was the 80s.
It was the
We
80s.
didn't. Nobody cared.
But you look
Yeah,
at it, you
just-
go, ooh.
Yeah, it's a little much.
So, you plot to kill our honorable sensei.
Disgraceful. For this misdeed, you should be banished from the Foot Clan altogether.
What say you, all-wise sensei?
Oh, okay. I say, throw the bomb out.
There's a difference here
Okay.
between the comics, as I understand them, because I think the movie takes the origin story from the comic books more than it does the cartoon.
Okay.
And in the movie, and I think in the comic books, Oroku Saki was jealous of the fact that Hamato Yoshi was the leader of the clan, and he wanted to be the leader. Hamato Yoshi has a pet rat,
Yes.
and Saki's also jealous of the fact that Yoshi is dating this woman that Saki loves. So Saki kills
Yes.
the woman, and Hamato Yoshi takes over the clan, and the rat bites Saki, scratches his face. The rat has to like leave the dojo because like now his master is dead. And then he flees onto a barge in New York, and that's how he ends up there. I don't mind that because I like the idea of the rat scarring
Yes. I love
Oroku
that.
Saki, and that's why he has to wear the Shredder mask. But I like the idea that Hamato Yoshi was a man and became a rat, more than a rat that becomes human. I like that more so. I have no problem. Yeah, I have no problem headcanoning it where maybe Hamato Yoshi already had a pet rat and the rat still gives him the scar, but Hamato Yoshi is the human that becomes Splinter versus a rat that becomes human-like. I think that works better.
Okay.
I think that is something that the cartoon did that I think works better.
I like the rat becoming humanoid.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I prefer the rat coming humanoid because I feel like it gives him kind of a revenge story almost too with the Shredder.
Right, because
And he becomes
he's
kind
out
of
for
one of-
vengeance for his
Yeah.
master.
And
Yeah.
he learned all of everything he knows from his master just from being
Yes.
there and watching him. Like, I know it's
Right.
very silly
Which,
in the
which
movie.
is very, very silly.
It's
That
very
the
silly in the
movie where they
movie.
do that is very, very silly.
But I can imagine just him, like, knowing that, and when he becomes mutant, you know, when he becomes a humanoid rat, he knows all of that knowledge. It sounds
Right.
very weird, but at the same
Yes.
time, I kind of like it that way. And
Yeah,
so he's
interesting.
raising the turtles as his master raised him. That's what I like. You like
Yeah.
this one, that's fine.
I like the other one. That's fine. Folks
Which
at
one's
home, it's
better?
all fine. Yeah. Let us know which way you prefer. How do you prefer your Splinter origin story, folks? So, Hamato Yoshi, thrown out of the dojo, he's forced to flee. He goes to New York, but he's poor. He's a poor immigrant in New York City, and he's forced into the sewers. So he actually makes himself a life in the sewers. He builds kind of a den for himself, like a home in the sewers. I feel like he could have gotten a job as a karate instructor somewhere. I think he could have been okay.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Don't you?
I would think so. There might be people who look down on them though, because he's Japanese.
But he's an authentic Japanese.
Well, I'm just
sensei.
thinking racist people in general.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But no, I agree. I feel like he probably could have opened a school. He probably could have opened something where he could have been like teaching.
But I do like the idea that like he's this illegal immigrant tossed out of his home. He's in New York. He doesn't know what to do, so he just goes down to the sewers and he makes a life for himself. His only friends are the rats. And one day, and this again changes the origin a little bit, because when they fall in, they would have been, you know, made into, or like the ooze already got to them or something or whatever. But one day turtles fall down the drain, and he's like, now I have some new friends. So he adopts the turtles and takes care of the turtles. And he says that under Sake's leadership, the Foot became an army of crime. He turned them into a cartel, essentially.
Like a syndicate.
Yeah. Yoshi makes a life of happiness, but one day he walks in and the turtles are covered in ooze. I don't remember which. I think it was Raph. I think he goes, "You get the feeling that this is leading somewhere." They changed the origin of the ooze a little bit in this cartoon too. I think I prefer the comic movie origin of the ooze, but we'll get into that in the second episode, I think. The turtles become human. Splinter becomes a rat. And
I have no comment on that one. I just thought it's just what it is.
And April is like, so wait a minute, Hamato Yoshi is you. And they're like, yeah, you got a mind like a steel trap there, lady. Splinter says they named him Splinter for obvious reasons, and they show him breaking the boards with his mouth because he's a rat now, so he has big rat teeth, and he can do it that way. And he says that he named them all after his favorite painters because he was into art. They would be considered freaks on the surface. So I decided to keep them here and learn to become ninja. Mm-hmm. And then we get all their names. He does the lineup straight out of the movie. And I think the comic book too.
I knew the outside world would consider them freaks, so I trained them in the art of ninjutsu. Donatello, whose simple wooden bull can disarm any adversary. Raphael, no sword on earth can withstand his side. Leonardo, his swordsmanship is unmatched. Michelangelo, master of the whirling nunchakus.
And master of the whirling pizzas.
And that is how they became
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It was weird for me to see it because I just didn't remember that they did this in the cartoon, or I never saw this, and I was like, wow, they really do. Like, here's the lineup. Here's Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael. Michelangelo is master of the whirling nunchakus. And he says, and master of the whirling pizzas, as he's like spinning it on his finger.
He's the one who cooks the pizza. He makes the dough. He's
you
the
think
chef.
that you think that Michelangelo is the
Yes.
Michelangelo would be the chef, I
That's
think, of all
right.
four of them.
Michelangelo is the chef. Telling
I
you.
like this idea that they gather ingredients and Mikey's
my
like, I'm
headcanon.
making pizza today, brah.
And that's why they're weird, and that's why they just put whatever on it, because he just grabs whatever ingredients he finds and puts it on a pizza, because that's all he can make is pizza.
You're in the sewers. Beggars can't be choosers.
So does he have to change the beginning of it every time they age?
Yeah, when they get older, they're going to just be they're either going to be adult Mutant Ninja Turtles, or they're just going to be called the Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they're just going to be called the MNTs.
Because
Yeah.
were they already teenagers when they were changed, or were they like
We're told...
baby Mutant Ninja Turtles, then toddler Mutant Ninja Turtles, then
Yeah, I think they were toddler Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then they were
and then
pre-K
teenage.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then pre-teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
We were told that this happened, that it's been 15 years. I don't know if it's in. So they were babies. They were baby turtles.
They're babies!
I can't wait to do that one.
Oh my god.
Leo says one day they're going to figure out who did this, who changed us, and we're going to force them to change our master Splinter back. So their goal in this is to actually change Splinter back into a human.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is
I thought that
interesting.
was... Yeah, I liked that motivation. I actually do, because it's a little different. It's like
I'm
almost a Fantastic Four thing motivation. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to try to turn him back human.
It's an interesting motivation, but at the same time I feel like Splinter's like, no, I'm good. I can be a rat creature. This is fine. Like what's the problem? You were already friends of the rats in the sewer.
Well,
right?
yeah, because
I
was
guess if
going
he
to say,
becomes
like, maybe...
human again, he could open his dojo, but still.
Yeah, he could open his dojo. He could reclaim the foot. Something.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
he could reclaim. That's probably the bigger part. Well, I guess they don't even know about. Well, they do know about it. Yeah, so he knows that the foot has become bad, and he wants to probably change that, and he can't do
Yes.
that as a rat. That okay,
Right.
fine, fair, fair.
April.
Except I would love to just see a rat take down the foot, like, and become the master of the foot. So
If they ever do like an ending of the Turtles, that's what it
would
should be.
be.
That like he reclaims the foot, and
Yes.
Splinter is now the master again of the foot. I would like,
like
that if they
that.
did if that's how any of a comic.
I think
line
I'd
ended
cry,
or
and it'd
anything.
be wonderful.
So April kind of smartly accuses them of the robberies. She's like, well, you know what I think? I think you guys did those robberies because like it was done by ninjas, and you're the ninjas that I can see. And like she tries to leave and says that even if they didn't, this is still news. And they're like, no, you're not going anywhere. They like cut her off from trying to run out of their sewer den. If you were to tell the surface world, the humans, about us, they're going to try to study us. And we're not going back to a bowl. Like, they flat out say, like, we were in a
Yeah.
bowl, we're not going back to a bowl.
Right. Well, they'd cut him open. It's an ET situation.
It is an ET situation. All right, first we've got on the docket, we got this weirdo alien thing. He is dead. He's about 2 feet tall, an
yeah.
elongated neck. And then next to
Potato-shaped.
him, definitely, yeah, potato-shaped. And then after we cut up this potato-shaped alien, we have 4 humanoid turtles to cut open. Are they related to the potato?
No.
No,
not
we're
related
getting
to
told they're
potato.
not related to the potato. Okay, so 4 humanoid turtles, and then a giant
bear.
rat man.
There's also a bear that can talk.
Who was the bear that could talk that we've covered?
Paddington.
Oh, yes, the bear. Okay,
Except nobody cared about Paddington, so
Can
I'm
some-
surprised.
can someone please call my wife and tell her I'm not going to be home because I got to cut into this bear, this potato, and at least one of these turtles I got to cut into.
What else have we covered?
Shrek,
Probably a
the
lot.
talking
Oh,
donkey.
Shrek. Oof.
Yeah, lots of stuff in that one.
Oof.
Meanwhile, at the Flatiron Building.
Meanwhile, I'm sorry, that was a Batman thing. I gotta turn that
No.
off.
Yeah, TMNT did it before the Spider-Man movies, Rachel. The Flatiron Building being like the news reporter building here.
That's true. They did.
Yeah.
I didn't even
yeah.
realize it was the same building until you just said that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The
Maybe
crew is
maybe
wondering...
it's just a bunch of news outlets. They all like have a different floor.
Yeah, the Daily Bugle's on one floor.
Yeah, exactly.
J. Jonah
They have, like,
Jameson
a few
rented out
floors
Channel
each.
6. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's the news district.
Exactly.
The crew is wondering where April is because another high-tech warehouse has been stolen. And Vern is like, I couldn't understand, like, does Vern not like April? Is there, like, some, like, jealousy there or something? Because
100%.
he's like, she's not even your best reporter. Who cares? She's not a total loss. And the guy's
It's
like,
such a
well,
weird
it's still...
thing. Yeah, but then he calls her the third best. What the
Yeah,
frick?
he's like second best reporter. He goes, third best reporter. Yeah, it's so weird.
It's so weird.
I think maybe what we're supposed to understand from this is that April's like a junior reporter who's trying to make a name for herself.
But they kind of acted like she was like the best, and then we're like, well, I guess
Yeah.
we can't really call her the best yet because she's
Yeah,
a
that's
junior,
what's-
and it's like, screw
it's
you
so
guys, or they're
odd.
just dudes. It's just men being men.
It's also
And she's a
possibly
woman.
just men being men.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I would not put it past that. I would not put it past that. Because I was like, what is with the slander here on
Yes.
April?
yes,
They debate about what to do, and Leo says, let's find the thieves and get April a story by, like, finding the thieves and being able to get her, like, a story that she wants to tell. In exchange, we're going to ask April to help figure out the origins of the ooze. Because, like, she's a reporter, so she knows how to do reporter things, and she's a human, so she can do a lot of human
where the
things.
human can go. Yeah, she can go where humans can go.
So she says, yeah, she'll help us. And they're like, wait, you're really going to help us? But you're a human. So I feel like Splinter, and Rachel, I know you haven't watched Mutant Mayhem, the newest movie. In that movie, Splinter is, like, paranoid that the surface world is going to want to kill the turtles and experiment on them and stuff. So
Well, they
he's
already do
constantly-
think that. Yeah.
So he's constantly, like, telling them that, like, humans are evil and stuff.
That doesn't feel like something a sensei would say. To me,
I-
a sensei would
he-
be like, yes, there's a lot of evil in the world, but you'd be like looking for the good in everything too. So that's odd that they
And-
would actually kind of shove down the throat of the Ninja Turtles that
In the
humans are bad.
in the new one, in the Mutant Mayhem one, Splinter isn't really a sensei. He teaches them...
I can't watch this movie. I refuse. I can't do it. The hell is he? What is he? A boxer? I don't get it.
I can't remember how he becomes a rat or anything, but he teaches them how to defend themselves. So he learns karate and then he teaches them karate. So he becomes a sensei, but he wasn't originally. And he teaches them karate to defend themselves because he's afraid of the surface world. Yeah.
No.
It's not bad. It's not a bad movie.
Nope, sounds horrible to me. They completely changed the origin story then, and it just sounds bad. That's not the Ninja Turtles. I'm upset.
Regardless.
Nope, I'm upset.
Rachel's getting upset. Shredder is with the thugs, and he says, "Did they look like reptiles?" And I was like, well, how do you know that they were turtles? Again, Shredder, like, he's like, no, they are turtles. Hamato Yoshi's turtles. At this point, I should mention the fact.
Wait,
'cause
why
I
does he
couldn't-
say Hamato Yoshi's turtles?
Well, because in the second one, we learned that he dropped the ooze down the sewer thinking he was going to kill Hamato
Oh.
Yoshi.
Oh, sure. I guess.
I don't know how he knows
How
that
did he know he was
turtles were
there?
there.
Or
Yeah.
the turtles.
Yeah, that part
mean-
doesn't make any sense.
I thought he recognized them because of the fighting style. And it was like, aha.
He does. No, he eventually does. He's putting two and two together. So, like, he's like,
okay.
there's turtles, and then they fight like the foot
Like
later
Hamato
on.
Yoshi. Right.
Yeah, so then he puts
Okay.
it all together that they're Hamato
yes,
Yoshi's
yes.
turtles.
Okay, thank you.
I should mention that James Avery is the voice of the Shredder. And once you know that it's James Avery, Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you see it. You can see him saying it. It's a wonderful Shredder voice because it is something that I can imitate slightly, but it is not completely replaceable. Like James Avery as the Shredder is the Shredder. That is the Shredder. That is how the Shredder should talk. It doesn't matter 100 years again from now. This is how the Shredder has to talk because of how James Avery did it. They go to look for some evidence. And I was like, how short are the turtles? Because the turtles are all walking down the sewer in front of April, and April, like, towers over them.
Sometimes April looks really tall, like model-esque tall to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know how short these guys are, but they are short.
Yeah,
I didn't know they
short.
were like Wolverine short. Like, that's kind of what I'm picturing.
And they're not in the movie. They're about as tall as she is in the live action, but in this,
But that's because
they
they're
are
men
short.
in suits, so...
Right. They're
But
men,
yeah, I
men
mean...
in suits. They roam around the sewers looking for fights. That popped Rachel. Everyone give Rachel a minute.
Oh god. No, they go up to like what, her shoulder? So are they like 4 foot something?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I guess it's because they're turtles. They should be short. you
Yeah,
know.
they're just a little squatter. It's fine. It just wasn't unexpected. But they're also teenagers.
It was unexpected.
Maybe
yeah,
that's
and they're also
why
teenagers.
Too.
They haven't had to hit a
teenagers,
growth
so
spurt yet.
they're shorter. Like,
Yeah.
could you
they
imagine
talk about
them as adults then? I don't know. Do they get like really like thick and like tall? I don't know. I'm a little scared now.
Rachel's horrified herself now. No, there's a good does it happen in the comics? At some point there is like a version where they're like college age. They're like in their 20s as turtles, and I can't remember where I've seen that from. If it's comics or cartoon. Folks at home are probably shouting at me about it, but I've seen it where like they all have different jobs and stuff. Actually, TMNT, the 2007 movie, the CGI cartoon movie. Aren't they like in their 20s in that?
I think they are older in that one. I think they might be.
So they talk about how they're not going to find any evidence, and eventually they do. They find a matchbook that says Ninja Pizza on it, and it's for like a restaurant that serves pizza. I can't remember which one of them says it. I think one of them says like, "Do you know what this means?" And Donatello's like, "This is a crucial piece of evidence," and it's probably Michelangelo who's like, "No, it means we can get some pizza." And Donnie says she can't go into the Ninja Pizza Parlor alone, meaning like, because April's like, "No, I'll just go in," and Donnie is like, "Well, you can't go in alone because what if it's the Foot Clan or something?
Right.
Like, we can't let you go alone." And Donnie breaks the fourth wall, and he says he loves saying lines like that because he says you can't go into the Ninja Pizza Parlor alone. They're very tongue-in-cheek about the fact that they're making the Ninja Turtle show.
Absolutely.
She asks how they know all about humans, and they say, well, we watch a lot of TV. Which makes sense. Like, you're in the sewers.
That's
like,
fair.
what else are you going to do?
Right.
Rachel, this next scene was extremely silly. So,
Yes.
I think it's supposed to be a commentary on New York crime and, like, the state of crime in the city. Because they go up to the surface, and an old lady sees them coming out of the sewer. And it turns out that she has an assault rifle with her.
That's just America. She's protecting herself.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
Her God-given right as an American citizen. That's true.
Obviously. But yeah, I think it is just commentary that it's like a crime infested city.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she's protecting herself from monsters and the like.
Yes. They back off, and April gets them their vintage trench coats to hide in because she's like, well, we have to do something because you have to blend in. And she gets them the
It's kind of
iconic
adorable. Yes.
Ninja Turtle trench coats.
They all look like detectives. Ninja detectives now.
I think one of them even does a "Here's looking at you, kid."
Yep, the Humphrey
Yeah.
Bogart. It's Raph. Raph does it.
Would have been a slightly more time. I think they do that in the movie. Doesn't one of them do the Casablanca
I
speech
think
in the
they
movie?
do. Yeah. They do a lot of voices though in the movies too, and it's supposed to just be because all they did was watch TV.
All they did was watch TV.
Movies and stuff. So
Right. It's
they're
us
just like
if we were
us.
turtles.
Yes, they're just
They're-
like us, and
they're
all we
just
do
like
is make
us.
references to everything they know.
Did you notice? I
Damn
watched
it.
this. I watched this on Paramount Plus. I think you did the same. Yes, I know you did because we watched it together. So,
Acted like we did it. We watched this first episode together.
did you notice? There is apparently a DVD you can get of this, which we'll talk about the end of when we do the verdict if we'll end up having to get that or not. Did you notice that the transfer has lines in it? Like somebody's VHS copy? Around this time, there were, like in this scene, noticed
yes.
VHS lines.
Yes, there's like the VHS lines, and it's a little warbly. Yes,
Yeah.
I
So
did.
I was like, did they take this from somebody's VHS? Is that the best we had?
You'd think, because of
Yeah.
the way it looks. It immediately has those lines. It's so
Yeah.
weird. And I
I
don't
just
know
thought
if it's
that
just the
was
way it has
odd.
to transfer because of how old it is and like what they did with it. Like, I don't know. I am so
Probably because-
confused by that.
I mean, it's possible because it's a 1980s cartoon, and
Yes.
no one could have predicted that we would have VHSs and DVDs and stuff for, everything. That they would have to preserve the frickin' Ninja Turtles cartoon. But yeah, there's VHS lines. Like somebody
Yeah.
recorded it off of their TV.
Yes.
It's kind of funny.
Well, I guess it's because it's film. It's old film.
It's old film. Yeah, but I thought those lines would be from VHS stuff. I don't know.
Still
She
film.
keeps getting-
It's still tape.
Yeah,
right?
it's still tape. Yeah.
So
yeah.
anything that's like that tape, I'm assuming kind of can cause those lines to occur.
She keeps getting their names wrong because they are all asking her about the strange things that they're seeing humans do.
Right.
So somebody's got the boombox next to their head because it's the 80s, and they ask her, why would somebody want to be deaf? And she says, like, I don't know, Raphael. And he's like, I'm Leonardo. And
just keeps
someone asks
happening.
why they would want to put silly stuff on their face. So it just keeps happening.
Like, she goes like, nice going, Raphael, and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's not them. You'd think she would be able to put the color of the mask to the turtle.
Yeah.
And she's a reporter. She really thinks she would get the names right, like, immediately. But I get the joke.
It's kind of a way to emphasize who's who.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be what it is,
This is like
really.
the third time probably that we've been told Michelangelo is the orange one, Raphael
Right.
is the red one. So like they're trying to get it ingrained into their audience's head, like this is this, like make sure you know the difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's a bunch of ninja stuff on the street. There's like a ninja pizza parlor, there's like a ninja tailor, a ninja dentist, like all of this stuff. It's the ninja district. So I was trying to figure out, is the Shredder laundering money through all of these?
I like that idea. I
Right?
like that he's
Like-
laundering money. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. He just keeps opening more places. Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually doing very well with our legitimate businesses. We probably could stop all of this illegal activity and just we could make a franchise out of Ninja Pizza. I could live very well here
Oh,
as
you
a
probably
Ninja
could.
Pizza.
Absolutely.
That Ninja Pizza idea is actually a pretty good idea. I would eat at a Ninja Pizza. Like the
I
way
would
that
too.
they, like the gimmick. So they go into the Ninja Pizza parlor and there's like guys with like ninja masks on their face, which just look like COVID masks. And they are spinning the pizzas in
Slicing
the air
it,
and going,
yeah.
hey-ya, and stuff. And they're like, doing all of like the gimmick. And I was like, somebody should open a Ninja Pizza.
It would be kind of fun. I could see it.
Ninja Pizza. They even have a tagline for it, home of the nice slice. Which is really good. Because it's like a slice of pizza and a slice
Nice.
like with your katana or whatever.
I like it. It's fun.
April thinks that the whole place is a little suspicious, and they think, relax, April, it's just a gag. It's like, that's the gimmick
It's
of
a
the place.
theme.
And they're like, I mean, who'd ever hear of a bunch of ninjas in a pizzeria? And she goes, you're a bunch of ninjas. And you're in a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And whoever thought of a bunch of turtles talking, I think is one of the other lines she says too.
yeah.
Yeah. I think more to herself than them too. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Shredder presses some buttons as the turtles are served pizzas. Meanwhile,
See, now the
April-
cameras in here make sense. This is his
because this is one of his legitimate. I'm a legitimate businessman. I own several places off on the west side, including Ninja Dentist and Ninja Pizza. I'm opening up a ninja bowling alley and a ninja nightclub. Ninja nightclub would actually be pretty good too.
That's pretty good.
I guess we've technically saw that in Secret of the Ooze, was the ninja nightclub.
Exactly.
April goes into a building for Manhattan Security Services, is what it's called. And it turns out that it's just the Foot Clan. So what they're doing, in a kind of an ingenious crime wave here, is that they're posing as a security place, and a place calls and says that they need security, and they send over, you'd think that they would get caught doing this, but they send over
immediately.
the Foot Clan as security, and then they rob the place.
Well, I guess unless they're robbing them immediately, they could just be like,
not scoping it out, but they're like, what is the term?
There's a term for it, because it is like scoping it out, but it's like in a bad way.
Casing
a place.
Casing the place.
We came to it right at the same time.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna think of it. So it could be that they're casing it that way.
That's
and
what
then
I'm
they're
thinking. And then later on, they'll come back and they know where all of their equipment is. They know how to shut it off, and then they rob it. It's a horrible scheme. Don't do this. But for a cartoon,
unless you have your own clan of robotic henchmen, then maybe you can.
Okay, fine.
So it turns out to be the Foot Clan, like we said. And before April can get a camera crew down there, because she realizes what it is, so she knows that she has her story, they kidnap her.
Yes.
We have a message for you. Shut it! I love it. Leo is concerned. He's like, where is April? And the ninjas throw something at them. I like this little bit where they throw something at them, and they're like, oh, is it a threatening note? And they're like, it's worse. The check. Where did the turtles get money, Rachel?
In the sewer.
Oh, you think people have dropped money?
I think that's why they have all of the stuff they have, is like they just go through like dumpsters and they go through garbage and all of that kind of stuff. So my assumption is any of the money they have is just disregarded?
Yeah.
Disregarded money, cash that they just find between the seats and everything.
If they were from today's day and age, they would be freelancers for sure. They would be all over. They'd be all over Fiverr. They'd be all over YouTube.
Each one of them would have their own thing. Don does programming. We have Leo probably teaches something.
Yep.
Raph does fight moves, and Mikey does cooking. Mikey does channel.
I was gonna say it's a prank channel,
or that too.
Both.
I like I now have a headcanon that Michelangelo is a chef. So
they all definitely have a Twitch channel though, where they all play. Like you never see their faces.
Exactly.
And they're just playing. It's just a let's play like Twitch. Mm-hmm. They're all playing Mario Kart every Friday night.
Oh yeah, they could definitely just have those too. Easy.
They find April's wallet. They walk outside. They see her wallet. They see her press pass. And then they see that her purse is on the roof of an abandoned building. Now, logically, this would tell you that this is a trap. And they call it out as such once they get to the top of the building. Like, Leo's like, be careful, this could be a trap. And then, like, a shuriken, like, flies at them or something. And they're like, yeah, it's a trap. So there's a ton of foot.
Definitely a trap.
There's a ton of foot soldiers. And they take their weapons out to fight. And we get a fight scene. And at some point, Raph, like, hits them with a sigh, and there's a clang, and he goes, clang? Did I hear a clang? And it turns out that they're robots. Mm-hmm. So they are like, okay, gloves off, and they just hack the shit out of these robots. Because of course, they
have the idea that they won't murder, just detain.
They're ninjas. Yeah, they've been taught right. I don't like the fact that they're robots. I never like when... I never, ever like when something is given those low stakes by being a robot or being, like, a mindless being that you can just hack up, which is always done so that the heroes don't have to feel bad for killing.
Right.
But you've seen in the movies that the turtles can take these guys out without killing them because they're just more skilled. So I would have liked if they weren't robots. I understand why they are, because parents were not going to want to have the heroes beating up people, so you need to make them into robots. But it takes it out a little bit to me.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
Saki sees the fighting style here. This is where we mentioned that he sees that it's the foot because he recognizes the fighting style. And he thinks that means that Hamano Yoshi is alive. So he's putting it all together, I guess, here. They somehow knock a wall down on them.
Yeah, that
they
was
like
weird.
get behind a wall.
I don't really
like,
understand that.
How
There's
did
just a random wall on the top of this roof, and they pushed it down.
That was very cartoony because I was like, wait, what? What just happened? How did this happen?
Random.
April is tied up, And I felt like this was one of those moments where people would say, like, okay, this was clearly drawn by a bunch of guys, because she looks pretty chesty in this scene, Rachel. Doesn't she look a little chesty?
Oh, I guess as they're taking
Being
the
tied
ropes
up.
off. I was like,
Yeah,
what do
she,
you
like-
mean?
she,
Because
like-
the ropes were over her chest, so it's like you don't
No, like,
see it
they
until
take
like
the
she...
ropes off, but she, like, she, like...
And then she, like,
does a
juts out
heave.
the chest, yeah.
She does a heave with her chest. Like, hold on, my boobs will, like, break me free.
Well, they could be helpful. You know, when you go, "Roar," and then you just push them. They're muscles, you know.
Folks at home, tie yourself up and let me know if you can get yourself out by just busting through.
With only your boobs, all right? Let me hear it.
It's a shelf life challenge, a Saturday morning shelf life challenge.
Get those pecs engaged. Let's go.
God. Yep, this is what I'm doing with my life. So they chase the foot to another building via zip line. I
Zip line.
Zip line. Didn't realize that they did it this way, because when we watched it, Rachel, like, watching it back, I was like, how did this happen? How did they end up hanging? But it's because they left the hook on the one building and ziplined to another. So, like, when they're hanging, it's because they're hanging from the other building. The Shredder sees that they're in the same building above them, and Donatello recognizes some of the technology, and he's talking about how it's like, oh, it's a fully functional automaton, like Alpha 5 or whatever. And so he recognizes the tech, and Shredder's like, all foot, get back to the Technodrome. They can see him on monitors, and it's like, why can they see him on monitors?
Yeah,
That
what
doesn't
is
make any
that?
sense.
Why does he have his camera on? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Were you conversing with somebody? I don't understand. And you forgot your camera was on?
Shredder's not the smartest bulb in the socket there. Not the
So
brightest
like how you're
bulb.
like, where would your bulb be?
I mixed my metaphor there, and I was like, okay, now I sound like an idiot, so I have to just abandon this. April's like, the Technodrome must be downstairs. Sure. Why does she think that? They come to conclusions on this. They're just like,
Well, they
all
were
right,
on like the
whatever.
top floor, so my guess is it would be lower down too.
Sure.
I guess. I have no idea. It's very weird.
The turtles tell April to wait. They tell her to wait a lot in these first couple episodes. I was like, guys,
because they
let
don't-
her-
Because
Yeah,
they don't
they
want
don't-
her to be, one, in the way, and two, get hurt.
I understand.
She's
I
not a
understand.
ninja.
I understand. I think you can make a feminist critique of the
Well,
turtles.
no, I'm still gonna say they're the ninjas. She's a reporter. That's my answer to that.
You know what? Fair enough. So, Shredder floods the building, or the foot start to flood the building, so now the building is filling up with water, and they're like, oh no, we're gonna drown.
Comically.
And then yeah.
Comically filling with water.
Yes, comically. You're right. Yes, it is. It's like filling a cup. Like, that's how much the water is. It's that's how it's filling up.
There is no way it can get out of that building.
And Donatello says, wait, we're not going to drown. We're turtles. And Raphael says, well, we won't, but she will. So they
Yes.
run up the stairs with April, and we get, this is a very important moment in the history of pop culture, Rachel. We get our first Cowabunga. As they float on the furniture, Michelangelo is surfing on a table and goes, Cowabunga!
That's the way it should be.
I feel like that might have been improvised. I want to know. I
you
want to
think
find
so?
out. I want to know the story if that was improvised or not. Because it felt like something that he just came up with.
It was first, though, popularized on an American children's show, Howdy Doody, and then became associated with American surfing culture.
Oh no, I'm not saying that the turtles.
Oh no, I
came
know.
up
I'm
with
just looking to
Cowabunga.
see
I'm just saying-
Cowabunga. I liked the etymology of it. I'm just curious about it.
Yeah.
Cookie
I'm just
Monster
saying that
says it on Sesame Street, apparently, and then the Teenage
Really?
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yep,
Oh, okay. So Cookie Monster said it first.
apparently.
Hashtag Cookie Monster said it first, folks.
It was his catchphrase. That's what it says.
I don't know if that's right. I want sourcing on that one. I would love to know how they came up with Cowabunga or not, but either way.
Well, my assumption is if they had him surfing,
yes.
and it's a surfing terminology that
It might have
was,
said
adopted.
like say surfing something. Yeah.
say
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
If
then
it
they
didn't
went
say
with
Cowabunga,
Cowabunga.
It said like surfing exclamation or something like that.
Like hang 10 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even
But
though they only have
cowabunga,
4 toes. It's like...
that has become the hang 4.
Isn't that what it is? Like...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But that is an important thing. That is, even though it apparently should be a Cookie Monster thing. It is the turtles, cowabunga.
Oh, I forgot that's what the turtles looked like in that. Oh.
What
Hold
are you
on.
looking at? Hang on, folks. Rachel in her
I'm
efforts.
horrified.
She is horrified. I'm
Okay.
horrified.
That
This
abomination. Do you see
Oh
it?
yeah.
I
Because
forgot that's what
they
they
don't have
look
the
like.
beak. Yeah, I
It's
don't care
so
if it's not anatomically
scary.
right. They need the beak. The beak
That's
makes them
scary
look
looking.
human. Yeah, doesn't look right.
I can't.
Someone
I
actually
can't
went-
look away. I'm horrified.
Someone actually went through and they altered the Michael Bay style and they put the beak on it and it looks a lot better.
I mean, that's all they had to do. But oof, it's so upsetting.
They get to the roof and they go on their zipline thing and I don't know, I guess it's hanging from the other building and they're fine. So they go back home and Splinter recognizes the suit as that of the Foot and they vow to stop them and to find Orokusaki.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what they say, but April says, "Do you take anything seriously?" And they say, "Of course we do." And they hold up pizza and April concedes and says, "All right, give me a slice." And that's the end of the episode. So that is the introduction. Turtle Tracks. Rachel, what did you think of Turtle Tracks?
I mean, I thought it was cute because it's just like it's a fun cartoon. You can tell it was for kids. There was a couple questionable art
its
styles
time.
of its time. Still questionable. No
Sure.
matter what, it's questionable because it's just
Sure.
a little like, come on. I still like the other story for Splinter,
Mhm.
but I was fine. I can either keep that, that's fine. It's not a big deal that's what
Yeah.
it is in the cartoon
Right.
for me.
You have your official headcanon of what the Turtles lore is, but for you, this interpretation
Yes,
is also
this
fine.
is fine. And I kind of like how silly it is between like the Turtles and April. It's kind of fun. I'm not a huge fan though of the Shredder and his weird supercomputer, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Or that they're robots. That's also kind of like a eh.
Yeah. I can't add much onto that other than I like Hamato Yoshi's backstory in this a little more than him being the rat. But yeah, I agree with mostly everything that you said there. I thought it was surprisingly concise. It's accurate to the turtle story for the most part, even though they do change the origins. For me, this is about as close as you can get as a combination between this and the movie as to the origins.
Yes.
And I thought it was actually a good introduction to the Turtles. It gives you everything that you kind of need to know about them. It gives you April, it gives you Splinter, it gives you Shredder. I agree about Shredder with the supercomputer. I'd rather him just be a crime boss ninja
Right.
than have...
And somebody telling him what's going on and him just going, what is this craziness? Yeah.
Yeah. Then what we end up getting into with the Technodrome and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kids' cartoon aspect
And
of it.
it might age itself a little bit of its time, like April having to use a payphone and them with the boombox and all of that kind of stuff. But it's not too much that it completely takes you out of it.
And it's okay, because every generation has their own Turtles. This is the 80s, 90s version of it. So
Right.
I was pleasantly surprised by this episode. I really was. When we come back, after a quick word from our fake sponsor, we will get into the second episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Enter the Shredder. After the break.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Cool!
Yeah! Throttle, Vinny, Moto, biker mice on battle bikes with the firepower to stop the evil Plutarchians.
Catch this, Carbuncle!
Gets him every time.
Step his way, Exasius vermin!
No way, fish face!
Grease pedals, grease them! Grease this! Whoa!
Time to rock and ride!
Biker mice from Mars, bikes and figures, each sold separately, new from Galoob.
Saturday morning, Shelf Life.
Boys and girls with another series. Rachel looks so pissed off that I did that. With another Saturday morning Shelf Life episode of Ninja Turtles. Boys and girls, it's almost the end of the morning. Aww. But we're gonna get one more Ninja Turtle episode in. Yay! Rachel, what's the next episode?
We will be talking about Enter the Shredder. Episode 2.
That's right. Episode 2. What happens in Enter the Shredder?
I don't remember.
The brain guy.
They track down Shredder, try to infiltrate his weird thing that we'll get into, and then...
Yes, it is a weird
I have
thing.
no other words for it. But they track down the Shredder, and they're kind of like going after him specifically in this episode. Yes,
this it picks up directly where the last one left off, and they're still hunting down the Shredder. That's for sure. So yes, this is Enter the Shredder. Debuted the day after. They all debuted, it says, right in a row. I don't know if they did that like after school or if it was in syndication, so they just had it shipped out or something or what. But they all are like one after the other. So this would have been like December 15th, 1987. David Wise, Patty Howarth doing the writing, and directed again by Yoshikatsu Kasai. Although there was a supervising producer, Fred Wolf, on this one as well. Rachel, let's get right into, because we have a lot of weird stuff to talk about, as you have already said.
Yes! Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Ninjas in a half shell. Turtle power.
Don't make fun of me!
Turtles in a half shell. Turtle power.
It's one of those.
I thought the same thing
It's
when you
all
said
of
it. I was
those.
like, yeah, I think it is turtles, but it shouldn't be turtles.
It's not turtles, and then it's like, wait, could be ninja, and then ninjas didn't sound quite right, and then it's heroes in a half shell.
Heroes in a half
power.
shell absolutely sounds right.
Yeah.
It starts with all the turtles sleeping, and you can tell because they have their bandanas off. So they're all sleeping, so they took their bandanas off. But they didn't take their knee pads and elbow pads off.
Yeah, I find that kind of weird. They have wristbands on, they have elbow pads, and they have knee pads on.
I guess, though, thinking about it...
And their belts with their leather on it. Yeah.
I would take my belt off, too. I would take the bandana off because that's tied around your head. That's like having glasses on when you sleep. That's uncomfortable. The belt, though, I would think I would also take off, too.
I would think it holds your weapon. Like, why do you... I mean, I guess you're ninja, though, so they want to be, like, ready to go.
You gotta be prepared. Yeah. You gotta be ready to go. You don't know if the Shredder's gonna come infiltrate your little sewer lair here.
Your home. Their home.
They do live in filth, Rachel. You know who would get along with the turtles? The pigs from Animal Farm. They both roll around and...
Would they? Because they tried...
Two legs bad.
They went into the farmer's home.
Yep, you're right. The pigs thought that they were too good for the sewers.
All right? You gotta remember.
That is true.
They would be like, we're too good for the sewers.
It would be.
They're
You're
too
right.
good
The
for
pigs
everything.
suck. That's right. They are. They're too good. April wakes them up, and Leo says, first we practice, then we'll eat. And they begin to spar with each other.
Shrek.
You think, oh, Shrek would be good for the sewers. You're right, because he does love filth and slop and mud. Mm-hmm. You're right. So you think that like this would be a vacation destination for Shrek, and he is green.
Is Shrek not actually an ogre, but a mutated turtle?
Is he a mutated turtle? Now
He's
are
a
questions that
swamp
need to
turtle.
be answered. Yeah, that's right. He's a swamp turtle.
And he was just mutated into Shrek.
Yeah,
He's
like
not
this
actually
idea.
an ogre. Yeah.
I
That's
like
what
this.
ogres are. Mutated turtles.
They're mutated turtles. I like this. I like where this is going.
Now let me get into my 50-page writing for this.
We went to New York one time for vacation, and I couldn't stand the noise, so I went down to the sewers, and my damned cousins were down there.
Literally what I was thinking.
Who's this guy? This is Shrek. He claims he's our cousin from far, far away. They begin to spar with each other. So anyway... Splinter's teaching. April watches along. I guess she spent the night down there. I guess maybe
Yeah.
because, like, you'd be
'Cause
kind
they're-
of afraid for your life at that point. So, okay, I'll give it to you.
But yeah, they are
Mikey
sparring at this point.
Yeah, Mikey loses his patience, and Leo is able to take him out because Leo is the best fighter of the four. Maybe Raph is about par with him, but Leo is the leader, so he takes him out.
He has the
And
most
they say-
discipline.
He does have the most discipline. That is true. Discipline, very important. Which is okay. So they say they're talking about how Michelangelo doesn't have any patience and that he needs to learn patience. And I kept thinking this is going to come back in
It
the
feels
episode.
like it.
This is going to be the lesson that Michelangelo learns is he's going to have to be patient about something at the end to overcome the enemy or whatever.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't. So
Well, it
like
doesn't in this episode, but I'm now wondering if it's going to happen later
if it
on.
will further on in
Yes.
the season. Okay.
Because I could see that happening, where they're having like, no, this is an overarching. Considering this is a continuation of the first
Yeah.
episode, I feel
Sure.
like that's more so where they're going with it.
All right. We'll see. Because I kept thinking this never comes back, which it's a kid's cartoon
Disappointing.
named Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it should have. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
They have cereal pizza.
I'm telling you. Yep.
April asks if they have any real food, and Splinters offers sushi, but because it's the 80s, she doesn't want it. That's what I
mean, she could
thought.
eat the cereal without the
She
pizza.
could just eat the cereal, yeah. And then, to your point, Rachel, she doesn't know where this fish has been,
any of this food. You are not eating in a sewer.
and a humanoid rat has prepared it for you.
Yes.
It's like eating the salad that Kramer made as he bathed. Like,
Oh!
you just want Splinter
That's
to be
so
like, I
disgusting.
prepared it from the remnants that were splashed down here.
Ugh, so gross. I mean, it's probably like the partially empty cereal boxes too. So I mean,
Okay,
all of this is
okay.
gross.
new idea. So you got
Uh-oh.
Ninja Pizza.
Okay.
Next door to Ninja Pizza, sewer sushi. So they're like connected almost. So you got like the sushi bar is called
I
sewer
kind
sushi.
of love it because I don't know if you've ever seen like the Japanese places that do sushi and like you can sit in a booth and the sushi comes down on a conveyor belt. Okay?
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about it.
I am.
You have
Is
your
an
own
old
little...
boot and a used condom come by, and then after that is a piece
Well,
of
I was
sushi?
kind of thinking they could make it look like a pipe, like you're in a sewer.
Oh, that's kind of cute. Okay.
Yeah, and it like comes out, and you have like a little trash can lid to eat off
Yeah.
of. Yeah,
All right. I like that. I
it's
actually
kind of
like
fun.
this. Concept is there. Kevin
The
Eastman,
concept
Peter
is
Laird.
there.
I know that the two of you are listening to this fucking podcast. Why don't you guys like we just want credit for it. We just want Shelf Life like to have some sort of credit.
Let us come there and eat for free. I want us to be like on a wall as Shelf Life, and you guys like
You have
have
to
us
you have to
there.
advertise for us a little bit. Yeah, that's all. That's all. It's a great idea. That's a hell of an idea. I also like the idea of their sous chef that makes the sushi is world renowned rat, humanoid rat. I mean, if Ratatouille can prepare all that food, why can't Splinter make world class sushi?
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. It's just the hygiene
Hashtag-
part of it, okay? I just don't know
Yeah.
about world-class sushi in a sewer. That's the part that throws me off. But
He might be
It's
really
fine.
good at cleaning.
yeah,
you don't
maybe
know.
maybe their section of the sewer is closed off and
He's very
immaculate.
disciplined.
You could
Yeah.
literally lick
You
the
can
floor
lick the ground.
and it's fine.
Yeah, licking the ground of any major metropolitan area, it makes me want.
I feel like we've talked about this
I would
before.
rather die. I know.
Why do
we
I feel
have.
like we've talked about this?
I'm sure we have.
Was it in Superman?
I think that's right. I think it was. I think it was in Superman where we say that the turtles had a lair next door to.
Yes.
Yeah. They want to find the Technodrome. So the Technodrome came up in the last episode. Then they're like, we have to find the Technodrome, and they decide to go in the sewers, which is 1980s New York. So it has to be filled with venereal disease and AIDS. Anywhere you walk around, you're picking up venereal diseases and AIDS.
I have no words.
They make a bit of a joke about that because Raph goes, a hot dog stand could really clean up down here.
I didn't quite understand the joke.
Because there's, like, nothing down there, so, like, the joke is that, like, they've been walking for a while, so that if there was, like, a hot dog, like, they're hungry, I think is the
Well,
joke.
oh, okay. Well, I kind of assumed that's what it was, too. But, like, at the same time, I was like, I don't really get it.
I don't get it. Donatello asks where a vast subterranean compound could go down here because they're in a sewer. It's small. Michelangelo says, how about down there? And there's this giant cavernous tunnel.
Yes,
that
where you can
only
see
the-
treads.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
the monster under the bed from Dinosaurs or the Technodrome could make this giant
Absolutely.
subterranean tunnel.
Absolutely.
Leo wants to tell Splinter before they pursue the Technodrome, because does Splinter know that there's a Technodrome? Like, they don't know.
Right.
This Technodrome, Rachel. Hang on. Rachel's trying to compose herself because she
Okay.
knows I'm about to ask her to describe it. And
Go
she's
on.
like, how? So
No, I
Rachel...
have ways.
Okay. Could you please describe what the Technodrome is?
Okay, so picture this. The
Picture,
Death Star,
folks at home,
the
picture
Death
this.
Star from Star Wars. Okay.
Okay.
Shrunken down with
All
treads
right.
underneath, like it's on a tank.
Like a tank,
Like
yeah.
a tank. It's got claw arms coming out the sides, and it has a giant eyeball on the top.
My favorite feature is that giant eyeball.
That is the Technodrome.
Yes, it's a ridiculous looking piece of
Why?
of villain lair.
Just why? I just
Okay, let me
this
ask you
to
this,
me is a
Rachel.
horrible shredder layer. Like, once I saw the spoiler alert, the mushy brain creature, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about you. And I was like, yeah, this is your place, and Shredder's just using
Yeah.
it because
Shredder's
it
just
just doesn't make
Shredder's
any
just-
sense.
Shredder's just renting a room in the Technodrome. This is not the Shredders.
Like the Dalek inside of here is telling us everything else, but it's like,
yeah, he is kind of a
God.
Dalek. Cat Crane. Aw. I forgot all the noises they make him make
Yes.
are supposed to be like this.
It's like, what is this? Stop.
What do you think is the better villain lair for Shredder, Rachel? Is it the movie version with the arcade and the Lost Boys from Peter Pan-esque warehouse, or is it the Technodrome? Or is it the one from Secret of the Ooze, the Junkyard?
Probably the junkyard. To be quite honest, the junkyard probably makes the most sense out of all three
You
of
know,
these.
here's the thing. This Shredder at least has something on the Turtles, which is he has the Technodrome. That Shredder from the movies really could not pass judgment onto the Turtles. He was living in filth too. He was just as bad
but
as the Turtles were.
I don't think he was passing judgment on the filth part. He's like, you're mutants. So
They're babies! Oh.
yeah, he really sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he says that part, doesn't he? Babies.
So yes,
I love
this
that
is
we
a
have to add the sigh at the end.
You do.
He's got like the freaking I'm Darth Vader.
That'll be 45 minutes of a podcast episode someday. Shredder's mad that they've lost, and as he's talking about how he's mad that the Turtles are back,
Yeah.
he gets an intercom from Krang.
He's like a little alien.
Rachel.
Oh god.
Krang. You kind of described him already. You said he looks kind of like a Dalek. He's a
So-
brain with tendrils.
Yes. He's like a Dalek. He's like the meatballs from Doom, but he has tentacles coming out
Or
of him.
Meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He looks like
Also
Meatball.
that meatball. He's got a face though, you know, but he's like a giant just brain creature tentacle man.
This is a creature
I forgot
that
about this thing.
Yeah. You will forget about Krang. That's for
Totally
sure.
forgot about it. But he
Shredder
makes
is
a lot
mad.
of noise. You're right.
Shredder's mad that Krang wants to chat. Krang calls him Saki. He says, Saki, get in here. Shredder's like, I told you to call me Shredder. And Krang is like, you wouldn't even be shredding anything if it weren't for me. And making all these weird noises, because I guess he's just full of gas and stuff.
I'm assuming just bubbling gases and liquids just to keep him alive, because I don't understand what this mass is.
You know what though? Like we're talking about how like ridiculous it is, but if this was like something that came up in like Invincible or The Boys or something like that, you'd be like, yeah, that's a good parody of like a weird alien villain thing. So it fits that
you're
idea
right. It
of
is
like
like
the
a parody,
parody,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's just so
That's
outlandish. I think this is one of the things that Eastman and Laird were like, this is too cartoony, and that like why they didn't
had
like
them
the
in
cartoon.
space. You said one of their comic books was turtles fighting triceratopses in space.
Correct.
No, this is not
Yeah,
as outlandish.
And that's why I don't think they really have a leg to stand on when it comes to a lot of these things.
Nope.
So Krang is from Dimension X, and he's saying that he's going to have I guess he's in charge of an army or something, and he was tasked with going to Earth from Dimension X, scoping out the place in order to take over the world. And for some reason, he hired the Shredder to help him with this task. Rachel, do you think that the Shredder is... Like, the Shredder doesn't want Krang to be able to take over the world? So, like,
No.
what's his end game here?
To squish him? I guess
right.
to get to a certain point and then double cross him.
That's what it's got to be, right?
It's the only
He's
thing I
got to
can
be
think
planning to
of.
double cross him. Krang
Stop
says he wants...
moisturizing him. I don't know. It's just one of these things.
Just throw him out. Just throw him out of the damn... You have the Technodrome. Just throw him out into the sewer. He's a brain. He'll dry up and die. Oh, he just gets thrown out. I would love if in the last episode of this season he just chucks Krang out the window.
I could kind of see it happening, honestly. For some reason, I could picture glass breaking. He's literally going through it. He makes a burping noise and then just falls into the water or something.
Krang says he just wants a body, which Shredder hasn't provided. He even says it. He's like, I don't trust you, Krang. So
Right.
I'm not going to give you anything. And I'm especially not going to give you anything as long as the turtles are around and Yoshi is here. Because if they're around, then there's a chance that they could be stopped. So he's like, we have to focus. We have to stop the turtles first.
The Tweedles.
Krang is like, well, I'll help you defeat the turtles. Well, I'll help you defeat your enemies first. And he says that he tried to... This is where we learn that Shredder is responsible for the turtles and Splinter. Because Krang reveals that you tried to destroy Yoshi with the mutagen, but now he has the power of the rats. But what if Shredder had a more powerful animal? And this gives Shredder the idea. Yes, if I make my own animals. And he's going to make his own mutants.
Right.
Which is a thing in a lot of the comics, but I don't know if in the original comics that was their plan, and I think that's why they don't like Bebop and Rocksteady. I wish I could find... Folks at home, I'm doing some real-time Googling here. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird had several reasons for not liking Bebop and Rocksteady, including legal clearances. The characters required legal clearances, which was a hassle. Annoying one-note shtick.
Why?
Laird found the characters constant... Well, because they didn't create them, so they probably had no rights over them. Laird found the characters' constant shtick in the 87 animated series to be annoying and silly, and the characters were replaced with Tokka and Razor in the movies. So I guess they just did not like them.
It's so interesting.
They did not care for the cartoons' take on their creations, adding that Fred Wolf launched a lawsuit trying to claim half the franchise profits, and it's understandable why the 1987 cartoon and things created directly from it are not as well liked by them. So a lot of it has to do with profits and the fact that they didn't come up with them, so then making them silly and like changing it, it's almost like they were kind of crapping on their thing. But again, like your point, Rachel, it was a parody, so it's kind of hard to judge at the same time. But it could come down to profits. Eastman has eased up on the cartoon a bit, Laird not so much. The cartoon doesn't really resemble their comics. Talked about how he disliked the creator and how he had to deal with the lawsuit from them because they claimed they created the turtles. It was understandable Laird and Eastman particularly don't have warm feelings about the cartoon.
Well, that's the part that I would agree with them on. If the people, the writers were like, we created the turtles. No, you fucking didn't. Now I can see why they hate them.
Yeah. And they did create a lot of things that make the
stuff.
turtles popular.
Them. Yeah. But they didn't create them.
Right. It's the same way as like the Rob Liefeld Deadpool is nothing like Deadpool. He's just a very stoic mercenary, and then the writers after that made him the merc with the mouth. Liefeld gets credit for Deadpool, just like Eastman Laird. Anyway.
Just one of those things.
Yeah.
Very silly.
So Splinter wants to join them in their search for the Technodrome, and Raph says the Department of Sewers should do it. Like, we shouldn't be looking for this. It should be the Department of Sewers. But Splinter says they can't go to the police. They can't go to the surface because they would never find them. Saki is a ninja. He is going to be quicker and better at hiding and getting around than any humans are going to be able to find them. Now, I would tell Splinter that's true if it was just Saki and his foot soldiers.
Right.
But it's not. They're going around in a giant Death Star tank with a big eyeball on top of it.
Yes. It's kind of obvious. I feel like that would be kind of easy to find.
But they decided
to do like a little mole creature digging tunnels underneath New York.
Which you think would ruin the foundation of the city.
It has
like
to.
Stuff would start to sink into the
it has to
Atlantic.
be sinking already, and then now you're doing this. Like,
it is sinking. Like in real life, I think it's sinking into the
Atlantic.
Atlantic.
That's my point.
Splinter and the Turtles go to find them. Meanwhile, the Technodrome goes to Central Park Zoo, and it breaks out I thought it was a wild boar. I think it's a warthog. A warthog and a rhino. These little robot things that look like trash cans with unicycles on the bottom. They have ropes, and they rope up these animals. It's very sad to watch these animals get pulled down into the depths of hell by these robots.
Right.
And as they do, the robots say, "Sorry for the disturbance, folks." You know what they looked like? They look like the robots from Chopping Mall. That's kind of the look.
Yes. This is version something of the Chopping Mall robots.
Yes. This is version like 0.5, 0.2, 0.30 or something. Of the Chopping Mall robots. What do you think happened to this warthog and rhino after they got mutated?
What do you mean?
Well, because like Bebop and Rocksteady had to sit by the rhino and the warthog to get mutated into a rhino and a warthog. But what did they do with the real rhino and the warthog?
You're right. I wasn't thinking about that. For some reason,
think
I was
Krang
just
ate
like,
them?
we just were creating from the animal, but now
do you think they put them back?
I don't know.
Do you think they ate
I'd
them?
like to pretend.
Do you think Krang ate them?
Stop saying that. Stop saying that they ate the animals. Probably. But I'd like to think that they put them back because the robots were being very polite about it. You know, sorry for the disturbance. We'll bring them back later.
You think this was the line that Shredder was like, "All right, we got to put the." I'm not. I may be a criminal, but I'm not a monster. We're putting these animals back.
That's right. That's where he draws the line.
Animal cruelty is not a thing, and is not the way of the foot. We steal cigarettes and high-tech technology computers for our little brain creature to take over the world.
Honestly, when they were telling us that the foot became evil, the first thing they showed you was a ninja kicking a vending machine for pops. All right? I'm sorry.
Rachel, that is theft. That is theft. They can't find the Technos. Anyway, they can't find the Technodrome. And Michelangelo says a very outdated line, I think, because he goes, "Where's Tarzan when we need him?" And then they do a Tarzan yell. And I was like, none of that made any sense. And then I was like, it had to be for advertising. To have them, like, do a Tarzan yell in, like, a cartoon commercial or something. Because I was like, what is this? What's happening right now?
Yeah, it seems kind of weird. But again, that's what they grew up with. That's how they learned to talk.
There you go. Yeah, they make references. They made another funny. They think it's huge, but they come to a break in the road, and Splinter looks to find a way through because, like, there's no way to get through. And he goes, "We rats can burrow through anything." And he starts burrowing. Like, I'm just, like, picturing... I want, like, part of it to be, like, you just see Splinter, like, gnawing and be like... doing like rat things, and then like the four of them are just standing there being like, gross. Like he's just like never.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's been a rat for 15 years, so he's just used to it at this point. But you, sir, are a human in this.
He
in
has
this
the
universe.
power of the rats. Shredder asks the thugs for volunteers, and none of them want to do it. And he says I need an experiment for strength and powers undreamed of. And none of them want to volunteer. And then he goes, it will help you get even with the turtles. And all of the thugs say yes. And he's like, but I only need 2. Make 4. The fuck are you doing? Just make more of them.
Yeah, just make a bunch. Why are you only doing 2?
Are you out of ooze that you can only make 2?
Yes. I think yes. Just,
I
mean,
I don't
honestly,
have I don't have the budget for more
turn,
than
but
2.
Still.
We'll do 2 now, and if it works, we'll do 2 later. I don't want to waste all this ooze if it doesn't work.
I guess
So he
he's
gets-
he's just acting like a true scientist. You know, you go little at a time. You don't do it
Shredder's
all
a
at
scientist.
once.
So Bebop and Rocksteady in human form look like Bebop and Rocksteady as you picture them in Rhino and Warthog form. Rachel,
Yes.
right? Because like Bebop famously has a mohawk.
Yeah, the purple mohawk.
The purple mohawk. He has it as a warthog. He has it as a human. He's got his
Yes.
red leather vest on.
Yeah,
very
he still wears
1980s.
the same clothes. Mhm.
Very Streets of Rage looking guy. Rocksteady's more squat and fire hydrant shaped with like blonde flat top. Rocksteady actually changes more than Bebop does.
Probably.
Like in appearance.
Yeah. Well, the face kind of stays a little bit. There's like
Yeah.
the features or something. But here's my thought on this one.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Let me say something. Because we're saying that the ooze, when you're in proximity to a creature, you will
Yeah.
turn into said creature.
That's right.
So it makes sense for the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on, because now all of a sudden I have like even more stuff to think. The turtles
I've gone
are
cross-eyed.
taking from the human to get humanoid, right?
Yes. Yes.
But why doesn't Splinter, who is also in contact with turtles, become a turtle and not a rat? Does he just like, oh, I pet my turtles for a minute here, but then I walked over here and now I'm holding the rat, and now it's like, oh, now the ooze kicks in and I'm going to become a rat? Because it just seems so interesting that that's how this works. Because then, in the way that this is all working, he would technically have 4 mutants, where he'd have the 2 humans becoming mutants because they're in contact with the animals, and the animals
If he put
like I'm
the
doing a
ooze on the
filibuster.
if he put the ooze on the animals.
Yes,
If he didn't
he could
ooze
use
the
the
animals,
animals to become other mutants.
he could have. He could have.
Just
I think
saying.
the rules of the mutagen is a little stretchy.
It's very wishy-washy. I'm just saying.
I can make the argument that Splinter spent more time with the rats, so maybe that's why he had like a lot of
So
rat.
when it's just attached to him, there's just rat hair all over him.
Yeah,
he
there's
had
a
one
lot
in
of
his
rat
pocket.
hair,
I
rat
don't.
droppings,
I mean, it's just. I
a lot of
suppose.
rat
Fine.
scratches.
I was thinking maybe
Yeah.
one was in his pocket.
Maybe one was in his pocket.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Look, my brain just went there, and I was like, I have to get this out, and then I felt like I was just doing a filibuster. I'm so sorry.
I suggest that you just enjoy yourself. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. They sit in a chair and they're trapped in. They like get strapped in. Shredder comes in with the mutagen, very funnily wearing a hazmat suit.
Yes.
With his Shredder mask
on.
still.
Yep.
He tells them that they'll get powers, but they may have a little trouble getting dates on Saturday night. And the robots bring in the Rhino and the Warthog.
Mm-hmm.
The turtles are now climbing a tunnel, and they get to the surface, and they don't want to make a disturbance, but they don't realize when they open the sewer tap that it's in the middle of the street, and this wacky music starts playing, like as they try to get across the street,
Right.
and without making a scene, and they make it into an alley. Meanwhile, April is in the newsroom with Vern, and she says that they're onto something big, and she needs a camera crew to take with her because she's like, it's got a scoop.
Right.
Damn it.
Yes.
He tells her that the zoo was robbed, and that's a bigger story, and she should go cover that. And she's pissed about it. And I'd be like, come on, lady. Think about this. Do you think that the turtles would have had something to do with it? But she blames the
bigger-
turtles for getting yelled at.
Well, There's a lot of layers to this. This annoys me a little bit. One, the
All
boss is a dick and doesn't want to listen to her. And she has a story, but he doesn't want to hear it. Two, it's like why she's been gone. She's like explaining, I've been like hunting this story, and he goes, yeah, no, I want you to cover a zoo theft. So I mean, it kind of makes sense why she's mad, because she's just like, but
Sure.
I have a story. Why would I go
Right.
do something else?
I'm not going to stop this story. I have a story.
That's ridiculous.
Yes.
And the yelling at the turtles, it's your own fault, April. You stayed with them in the sewer. You didn't have to.
You spent the night in the sewer.
You could have
with the
come back up,
turtles.
went to work, come back down to the sewer later.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The turtles walk up to her. They're disguised as break dancers.
I think so.
I think they're supposed to be break dancers or 80s street pimps.
just
Do you think that they
80s?
sold these? Do you think that they sold these as action figures?
The
They had
only
to
one
have,
I
right?
like, the only one I like is that Donatello has on like this flight jacket. I like the flight jacket, I think. And maybe Raphael in a leather jacket. The other ones are kind of like
I couldn't tell who was who. How could you tell who was who?
Oh, they're sunglasses. Oh, Michelangelo is actually the one wearing the black leather jacket. Raphael is wearing a white leather jacket like Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson?
Yep.
Rachel was doing a whole dance routine there before she could come up with the name. Just so that you all know.
And they also have the knee pads on. How can you not tell who they are? What
I
do you
guess I
mean?
just wasn't paying attention. I just
Wait.
thought that they all took their bandanas off.
Yeah, but they all wear the same colored sunglasses.
I'm like April, I can't tell.
Purple,
Oh.
blue,
blue.
blue,
Alright.
orange,
I can't tell.
orange,
I
red,
can't tell
red.
on the sunglasses, but I can tell on the knee pads. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
But
they're
when
supposed
it
to
zooms
be.
in, you can see that they're colorful too. Just them dancing.
So I'm
is
just
a GIF.
stupid. Yeah, just them dancing as break dancers should be a GIF. Right, that's a GIF. That's a GIF.
So dumb.
Save that as a screenshot. Folks at home, please, if you go to like 9 minutes, 10 minutes into this episode of the turtles breakdancing as 1980s New York, whatever this stereotype is supposed to be.
I don't know what I'm watching. They're just
you
dancers.
this should be a GIF of
jackets.
some kind.
Yo, sister, what's the haps?
Give me a break, guys.
They laugh about the animals being stolen. And I can't remember why they laugh about it, but they're like uproarious about the animals being stolen. And then they think it could be a clue. So they decide to go enter via the ground, because it's like, oh, wait, these animals were sucked into the ground? Could be a clue.
That's an odd thing, yeah.
Splinter finds the Technodrome before the turtles do. And he's attacked by one of these robots. And they grab him and they pull him in.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that he was kidnapped. I thought that was a nice touch to this episode. You know, Splinter is now in peril. The turtles don't want April to come with. So again, they reject her again from being able to participate. The arc has to be that by the end of this season that she like fights
That they
alongside
trust her
them,
more?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It has
I would
to be.
assume so. Otherwise, she's just always their damsel. And
She's
it's
not
kind
really
of like
a
too much.
damsel. She's just
not.
like their helper.
Yeah,
because they're
she's-
like technically Splinter's the damsel in this.
True. But I'm just saying, like, that they're the ones that constantly having to, like, no, we want to protect you. We got to protect you.
Yeah.
We have to protect you. I
Yep,
think that's
yep.
just all it really means. But
That's all it is, and it's like let her
Mhm.
fight.
well, maybe, but she doesn't know how to fight. See, I disagree with this fact. Like, maybe if she was actually trained and she knew like fighting and like she had
yes.
some sort of something under her belt,
All right.
sure. But I don't know if she does. I mean, I
Yep.
could kind of see her having some self-defense classes, especially considering she has to do seedy underbelly of New York on-site reporting. Like, you kind of need to have something.
Mm-hmm. They fall in extremely slowly and extremely far, but I guess because of their shells, they're okay. Because they fall in and the
Yeah.
Technodrome is just still parked there. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
why
guess
Shredder
so.
didn't move it.
Right.
Why did
I
you
don't
leave it underneath?
know.
Maybe he is going to return the Rhino and Warthog. Rachel is like, just leave the Technodrome here. I'll
We
do the
gotta leave it
experiment
here,
and then I'll
put
it back
the
up there.
animals back. I think that's what it is.
The stick is there. Splinter's walking stick. So they know that he's been kidnapped. And Shredder gets over an intercom and tells them that if they want to see him again, they have to come in to the Technodrome. And they do, despite it being a trap. Shredder locks them in to this room, and they're in a room that's about to be squished. This whole section felt
Feels
like a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, level
I kind
after
of agree
level.
on
Like,
that one.
yeah, this first thing is like they're in a room where the walls are coming in to squish them.
Right. But
so
then
they have to find a way out.
right, Leo hits a thing on the wall, and
Like
Don
a control
is able
panel
to
with
like
his katana.
right, and he's able to like play with the wires to make it stop squishing them.
Yeah.
And then little robots come after them like one at a time.
Yeah. So then all
Very
these little
video
robots come after
game-esque.
them. Yeah, they kick them all out. They find another room, and a bunch of other weird robots are there. And these are all like robots that you'd see on BattleBots or something like that. Like they're all these like contraption robots where Shredder's, I was tinkering around and I made all these robots, Krang. What do you think of this one? It's got a pizza wheel on it, and this one's got a
pyramid
hammer.
head. This one over here.
I think that they could come in handy.
I think what if we use these as our workers at the stores? We could have a barber. This one looks like it's shaped like a barber.
Instead of hiring people, we'll just have the robot do it. It'll be fine.
He's turning into McMahon.
Yeah, he turned a little bit into Vince McMahon on that. I needed to get it back. They pin them in, and Leo makes a plan of attack. So, like, one of them's going to go one way, one's going to go the other, and then Leo's like, I'll take the middle. And then we get the do 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 as they attack. They fight the robots off, showing off their ninja skills. For an 80s toy commercial, the action's kind of good. It's not bad.
Yeah,
it gets the job done. For a kids show, it gets the job done. It actually shows how good they are at fighting, and their personalities, as well as some of their ingenuity. Mm-hmm. So they're thinking about how to defeat these robots. They're not just doing it headstrong. They're actually using their heads a little bit in how to fight.
Right.
So they finally take them out. They fight their way through the Technodrome. Donatello picks up a thing from the robots after they're done fighting those robots, some sort of like fuse box or something. I think it turns out to be an explosive device that was on one of the robots.
I think it was. It must have been something that just was inside of it.
Because they end up blowing a wall out using it because they're going to get crushed again. Mm-hmm. And Donatello puts it on the wall and like sets it off or something, and it blows a wall. I don't know how he knew how to do that, but he is Donatello and he does
Donatello
machines.
And he does machines. Don't you listen to the song?
Did you listen to the song? It leads them to a room where Splinter is hanging from the rafters, and the Foot are all there with the Shredder. And it felt like the movie again, where like you'd see like, "Come get your master," and you know. I actually like this bit. I thought that this was more sophisticated than I expected from the '87 Turtles cartoon, where he says that they passed the test.
Right.
I am Oroku Saki, and you can call me the Shredder. Right. And they even make a turtle-esque joke about a kitchen appliance.
Right.
So...
a bit like Spider-Man in that way, where he just like makes a joke at the bad guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You passed your test with flying colors.
Test? What test?
Your hairy little friend knows me as Oroku Saki. But you may call me the Shredder.
A kitchen utensil?
He says if they want to join the Foot, they should not be so insolent. Do you think that he was actually trying to get them to join? Or do you think he was just kind of like stalling with them to see what they would actually say? Because like he's doing the villain thing of being like, you were trained by Hamato Yoshi. Mm-hmm. You know the ways of the Foot. Mm-hmm. If you join me, like join together with me, we can take over New York.
I actually think he was seeing if he could manipulate them. Because he's able to manipulate the other thugs. So he's like, well, let's see. Can I manipulate you too? And then I'll just take you like as a part of my crew since you're so powerful.
Having these turtles on his side, he would be unstoppable.
Right. But if it doesn't work, he has
a backup plan. Mm-hmm. Yes. He says he made them who they are, so he admits to doing the ooze. He followed Yoshi to the US and caused the change. He even says, very Star Wars-esque, he goes, don't deny your destiny. Like, he wants them to, like, join the dark side.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And what's Raphael's response to this, Rachel?
Go suck a lemon.
Does the phrase, go suck a lemon, mean anything to you?
Could have been an egg, could have been a lemon, either way.
Shredder brings out Bebop and Rocksteady to destroy them, so this is his backup plan. and they jump away, and Bebop and Rocksteady collide into each other, and they hang on with Splinter before coming down. They cut it off, and then they take out all the foot. I thought that this part was a bit anticlimactic, because like you had all that decent action with the robots, and then this was like very rushed. It felt.
It did feel rushed, but I think on purpose, just because his mutants were crap. But at the same time, I kind of wish there was more of that. Yeah, well,
I get eventually making Bebop and Rocksteady a joke, but they should have been somewhat threatening. They should have been somewhat intimidating to the Turtles. They're immediately, right from the off, bumbling oafs. So it's like, Shredder needs to win a little bit to make him a little threatening. I get it's a 1980s kids cartoon show, and I'm asking a lot. But if I were to change it at all, that would probably be what I would do. Make Shredder more threatening. He fucks up all the time.
Yes, his goons are horrible. He has horrible goons.
Yes, he needs better hired goons. Yes. Hired goons. Ooh. So Leonardo cuts Splinter down, and they go to leave. And April has a news van, and the Turtles poke their head out from the sewers, and they say, and even Leo says, that was almost too easy. And as he says this, Rocksteady and Bebop come up from the ground, and they start shooting laser guns at them, because you couldn't shoot real guns on kids' cartoons at that time.
So just pew, 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 pew.
But they're able to take them out again by cutting the guns, and they blow one of them up. Michelangelo says that those jerks belong in a zoo, not the streets. And Donatello gets an idea, and they run into the zoo. Bebop and Rocksteady chase them into a cage, and then the Turtles go in the back door, like where the zookeepers go in, and they trap them in to the cages. So Bebop and Rocksteady are isolated into the zoo once again.
Once again, you say, but this isn't the actual, like, animals.
Well, you're right. These aren't the animals.
The animals are free to roam the sewers, I suppose. But unless they did put them back.
A rhino and a warthog were found in the sewers. They keep calling them dumb. Michelangelo keeps just saying, they're so dumb.
They're bozos.
Dumb.
Dumb. Those dudes are so dumb.
April finally shows up with a camera and asks for where the action is. And they're like, well, you missed it all. It took like 5 minutes to take these guys out. They kind of suck. They're always going to be known as being pretty bad. But
she's like recording them?
Yeah, and she's like, well, you can get a shot of those two bozos. Think about this for a second, guys. You don't want people to know that you exist.
Right.
I don't think that you want people to know that a humanoid rhino and a humanoid warthog exist.
They should not have put them in the zoo.
No.
But she's like recording them, and they're calling her a bimbo. There's a lot of stuff happening.
And she asks, where did these guys come from? And they're like, well, let's take the van out. We'll give you the whole story. So they leave.
Yes.
And after they leave, Shredder comes to get them out of the zoo. Takes Bebop and Rocksteady back to do even more damage in future to come. So yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes, because like I said, I don't remember the first season, so I don't know if April, is this going to be like a recurring thing where like April's trying to figure out what the story is without exposing the Turtles, so now she has this footage, so now what's she going to do?
Right.
And of course Bebop and Rocksteady are going to be punished by it, because like the robots come up from the ground and they say like, Master Shredder wants a word with you, and they're like, can you just leave us in the zoo instead? And they like drag them down into the pit.
Right. I mean, you picked stupid goons to turn into mutants. I don't understand why.
That's the problem. You just need better hired goons.
But I mean, look, I feel like the movie did that part better, where they took animals to make into mutants versus making a human who's already a bumbling oaf into a mutant.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, actually. Yeah, he should have made the rhino and the warthog.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. And then he's like, I need 2 people. And I'm like, what? What are you doing?
Because he thinks they'll have the intelligence of a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have to train them up on being human-like.
Then get somebody good.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Well, Shredder
One
is
of your foot, not the goons. Like, why didn't you take a foot?
Apparently, a lot of these foot ninjas left him. They all became. He only leaves his robots.
It's so weird.
Like, did they all make a coup on him? Is he really not in charge of the foot?
It's so odd.
It's very odd.
It's
It's one of those things I don't like. But yeah, that is the end of Enter the Shredder. Rachel, what are your thoughts about this particular episode?
Well, I guess I gave you a couple thoughts already.
You did.
About,
You absolutely did.
About like the animal part of it. I do also agree that I liked that Splinter got taken on this one.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we got to see him fight a little bit more before he got taken.
Yeah.
But it's a cartoon, so it's like so short. It's hard to get all of those beats in.
Right.
But I did like the video game aspect of the Technodrome as much as I hate the Technodrome itself. So, it's still fun. Yeah. It's still like fun to watch right now. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, the idea itself is preposterous. So to be
absolutely.
like, okay, I can believe the turtles are mutants and that Splinter exists, but the Technodrome is where I draw the line.
I drew the line there.
It's fine. It's a fine little episode. Like I said, the action is all right, especially for being a toy commercial. And I like the Shredder in this. I do think that it gets a little goofy for my taste. Mm-hmm. But it is, again, a kid's cartoon, so I understand that. But it's a little goofy. It gets a little goofy.
Right. I guess I didn't really think about the Technodrome being something a kid could purchase as a toy.
Mm-hmm.
100% it kind of works that way.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
I should see about pulling my... I did not have a Technodrome as a kid, but I did have
the Turtle
several. Did I have a turtle? I did have the turtle card, didn't I?
Of course you did. Yeah.
Of course you did. I have lots of turtles. I have many turtles. Yeah. I have the sewer playset.
The sewer playset is so cute.
That was pretty sweet. That is
adorable.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got all the Archie comics.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get out some of these. We'll have to talk about how many different toys there are. Oh, did you hear that noise? Did you hear that noise, boys and girls? Unfortunately, that means that the morning is over. So it is actually... so we're... That's okay, because the weekend still gets to be here. You got so many more hours before you've got to go back to school. Boo.
Boo.
Or
Yay.
work. Bigger boo.
Oh, bigger boo.
Join us next time as we keep going through the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Shelf Life. Saturday morning.
Shelf Life.
Shelf Life. I've been Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this has been Shelf Life. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.
Shelf Life. Shelf Life.
You wouldn't last 5 minutes in a ninja pizza parlor. I love saying lines like that.